In this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. Broadcasting from a Montana wilderness fortress at the headwaters of the Missouri, this is Matt Christiansen Live.
There's been so much talk about this democratic socialist movement from New York City, but now to Michigan, and then a couple of nights ago in the state of Florida, where Angie Nixon won a double-digit victory.
Medicare for all.
Medicare for all. Yes, for all. You know, if you're a citizen, you're born and raised, you should at least be able to go and say, I can get my teeth pulled.
I don't give a damn fuck.
How about new?
The word democratic socialism, the phrase, doesn't scare you.
It doesn't scare me.
Wow.
Socialists, you know, the word is like it's like a bad word.
To a lot of people, yeah.
To a lot of people, but they have some good points.
That's incorrect.
You are fake news.
You America-hating communist pig.
Very fake news.
Round them all up.
It's not against the law, ho, fuck you.
That's uncalled for.
Who gives a crap? I don't care.
Fed.
All right, America, go to the YouTube right now.
Skag free whoever he is.
Duct tape all over the place. It's a disgrace.
In 5, 4, 3.
I can't do it. We'll do it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Matt Christiansen Live, a proud duct tape production for Sunday, August 23rd, 2026. Thank you for tuning in. Sitting shotgun tonight in his usual Sunday seat is the highly regarded Matt Palumbo.
Good to be back.
Welcome back.
Saddle up, partner.
In the news for discussion tonight. Now, I left for a week off, and I was hoping I would come back to peace in the Middle East, because, of course, Iran is so eager. They're desperate for a deal. That did not happen. We'll check in with the latest Iran updates. I guess we're also back in a trade war with Canada, so that's probably not going to help ease the cost of everything either. Most talked about this week, a woman is on trial for strangling her 3 young children to death, and hundreds of other women are out in the streets supporting her, because after all, it could be any of them.
Could
they
be
say.
them.
And the silver lining is I've never seen so many women proudly and publicly admit to being crazy. All right, at least we're making, hey, it could be me. Who knows? I might choke some kids to death.
Yeah.
It's you joke about these things, and that's sometimes the only way to process them. But reading about this case today without looking into it in detail, I mean, I don't know. I'm not somebody who's emotionally bothered by the news very often, but those 3 children that she killed a few years ago, they're all the same ages as my kids. And I'm just imagining what it would be like to return to the home to see that scene, what it would be like to be her doing it. And I know that the reasons why she did it are complicated, and the defense is arguing it wasn't really her at all. It was all a psychosis. It was all drug-induced hysteria. But not that anybody really needs me to tell them this was absolutely horrific, barbaric behavior. When you think about those kids in the flesh that way, it's just like, ugh. That was one of the few where I'm like, I need a break for a second. This is too messed up.
Yeah, I've seen people posting quotes from the husband's police call, and it's as haunting as you can imagine. It's really heartbreaking to read. It's to the point where I was almost hoping it was fake or something, but no, it was really terrible stuff. And, you got to wonder, too, is this just a natural offshoot of a culture that accepts abortion to the extent that we do, and that we have states where it's up until birth? And, if you were to say that up until birth is fine, but the day after is not, you're basically saying, well, the geographical location of a child determines its life, whether or not it's worthy of life. That obviously makes no sense whatsoever. So is this just the logical offshoot of that, or are they just otherwise crazy? Both options work,
I want to get into that because there are reports that men are breaking up with their girlfriends over the reaction to the Lindsay Clancy trial. Yeah. But if you're saying I can't trust you to protect my children and not kill them, I'm kind of out also.
Yeah.
So I don't know at what volume this is happening, but you're exactly right. I was thinking about that. with regard, like, even if your supposedly sane girlfriend is she recognizes the wrong that Lindsay Clancy committed. And by the way, she acknowledges she did it. It's not in dispute that she did. Let's say that she's generally pro-choice, maybe even to a Massachusetts extent, as was in the news recently. How is that morally any different? And by the way, as we'll get to later, I mean, the implications for men in the dating market, and with some recent news regarding marriage and marriage rates, the temptation is for men just to run away. Like, nope, can't trust any of these women. I'm out. I'm going my own way, as is the phrase for many of those who have the title of such things. We can't. We have to establish leadership roles to see our way out of this. And that's easier said than done. Believe me, I remember being in the dating market. I remember the difficulty.
Oh, it's brutal, man.
There's so much more to this Lindsay Clancy thing than just the trial itself. So I get why people are so captivated by it and all the reaction to it. We'll spend a lot of time talking about that.
Well, this whole side issue has arisen because Matt Walsh was saying that effectively that postpartum isn't even a thing, which is not true. So that allowed these people to shift the debate and say, oh, we're just trying to highlight the postpartum as an issue and make it more about that than the actual murder itself. Which
it doesn't justify anything.
But it justifies nothing.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's made up. I don't know Matt's sources, but
I think sudden infant death syndrome was made up to a large extent.
That's
also that. Because they fought. My logic is, and I'm not speaking scientifically. I actually have no idea if it's made up. I just have a hunch. It follows the distribution that all statistics do, which is the worst is black, then Hispanic, then white, then Asian. Like that every crime statistic, every theft statistic follows that same pattern. So maybe the parents are just killing their kids and we're saying it's something else. I don't know.
I didn't know SIDS was racist. That's very interesting. I've not heard
it follows the distribution. So I don't know. I could be totally wrong. I have no idea. But it is interesting to note that is how it breaks down.
Also, Eric Swalwell gets raided by the feds. I'm not exactly sure how being too rapey is a federal issue. They're trying to make it one. I am here for the show, so I look forward to watching it. Plus, Matt P is going to tell us a story of the polling firm that admits they made it all up, and they've now shut
100%.
down. At least one of them.
Yeah.
And we have Hoax Hate to close. Before we get into all of that, got to say hello to our featured listener-owned business for the evening. That's our friends at Western Razor Company. We know we're being lied to on a daily basis by our government, by corporate media, and by razor companies too. Think about it. Their ads used to appeal to your masculinity. Then they took advantage of your sensitivity with aloe strips. They kept adding blades, thinking you wouldn't notice how clogged they get. And the more they changed, the more plastic and disposable they became. The honest truth is those other razor brands are lying to your face, and our friends at Western Razor aren't going to take it anymore. That's why their safety razors are 100% metal construction, made in the USA, and made with integrity. The replacement blades are inexpensive too, pennies each. So you get a great shave and you save money long term, because when you buy Western Razor once, it lasts forever. Listeners of this show get a 10% discount on any order when they use promo code MATT10 at checkout. Don't let those other razor brands lie to your face. Go to westernrazor.com and order yours today. Western Razor, the last razor you will ever need. Promo code MATT10. westernrazor.com. Check out mattchristiansenmedia.com/deals for all my special offers from listener-owned businesses, deals by listeners for listeners. All right, as far as some housekeeping, we are back on regular schedule. It was a good family vacation up near Glacier National Park. I didn't look at the internet much this week, so I appreciate your patience with the stream being off on Wednesday and no videos this week. We're back on regular schedule, though, so streams Sundays and Wednesdays at 9 Eastern, videos Wednesdays and Saturdays. And we will carry on into the fall, this midterm election season. So we'll see what the news brings us during that time. But before we get into the serious, actually it is serious news. I should never dismiss the importance of a hilarious name submission. And this one is from listener Ben in the MC Club Discord server, who I gather really has his finger on the pulse of hilarious names out there in the wild. He sent me a few of them and he never misses. Maybe this one isn't hilarious, though. Maybe it's just satanic. Because normally I appreciate names that are very close to slurs, but aren't.
Diego Fago.
Kaniga.
This name isn't actually close to anything. It's just the thing. In Las Vegas, police have been searching for missing 4-year-old Lucifer Heckler.
Who the fuck made this shit up?
Lucifer, of course, being the fallen angel, otherwise known as Satan or the devil. And I notice, Matt, it's not Lucifer Heller, okay?
Heckler.
Lucifer Heckler, which seems like an odd coincidence.
But you could say, like, go to heck if you're, like, wholesome or something instead of hell. So maybe that's what it is. And maybe he formerly had an angel's name, but then they had to change it.
I don't know. Yeah. As Skulldugger wrote in the Discord server, Lucifer was last... excuse me. Clear my throat in proper preparation for the bit. Lucifer was last seen falling from heaven like a star across the morning sky.
Nice.
Actually, he was last seen August 22nd in the area of South Mojave Road and East Tompkins Avenue in Las Vegas. But in an update later, police said Lucifer has been located. No mention on whether his parents have been arrested yet to bring them to justice. Tonight's big theme is justice for parents committing atrocities. Has an atrocity been committed against young Lucifer?
I wish a cop named like Jesus found him or something. That would be the best possible outcome.
I mean, it's not, the missing child's not funny. I'm glad he's safe, but I actually would like to hear from the parents. Why? I know there was a famous show called Lucifer in the last decade or so, right? Have you seen that show?
I actually have not seen it, no.
I haven't seen it either.
But
it's
maybe
too close to a movie.
After that character or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Maybe they were big fans, but they didn't understand the
context?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like someone must have told them by now or been like, all right, so what's the deal with the name? You know?
He's going to have to be named, he's going to have to go by Lucy and get made fun of less for having a girl's name. That's his only hope.
Poor kid.
But I'm glad to hear that young Lucifer is safe.
Yeah. I feel like people grow into their name. So this is frightening.
He's gonna take the Lucifer
millions.
fame from the devil himself. That's
Yes.
what he's gonna do. He's gonna reclaim what was once a glorious name. All right. This week in Iran news.
Why the fuck is the gas so high, bitch?
I had actually forgotten that for the last 60 days we supposedly had a memorandum of understanding.
I had
with
no
Iran.
idea. Yeah.
To allow traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. Not clear what, if anything, was actually understood, because we blew them up and they at least tried to blow us up, and we held a naval blockade that whole time, or most of it. The memorandum of understanding quietly expired this week on Monday.
What I read was we were getting 7 million barrels per day through the Strait, but it was 20 million before this conflict, so it's still a 2/3 decrease with the MOU.
Although, as I'll get to in a moment, there is some reason for optimism lately, but it has to be understood within the context of the status quo before the war, like you're saying. But Trump told reporters Monday that he wants to make a deal, of course, or he wants to make a deal, but Iran wants to make a deal. They're desperate to make a deal. They're begging to make a deal, but not the kind of deal that Trump feels is necessary, which is kind of like saying, listen, Matt wants to make a deal to be paid $1 million to do nothing.
I do.
Everyone's eager to make some kind of deal. The question is on what terms? And the terms that Iran finds agreeable remain an issue of contention. But as I mentioned, it's not all pessimism. The traffic is actually increasing in the Strait of Hormuz, despite Iran's claims of control. And at some point, we kind of do have to call their bluff. I know they fire missiles and stuff, but if they claim to control these things, all right, do you actually? We're going to send some stuff through there and see if you can blow it up. I think the problem is nobody wants to be that guinea pig. And if the value of your ship is millions of dollars, I can't blame you for not wanting to be that guinea pig. But traffic has increased nearly 400% in the last 2 weeks. But to your point, if you take
400% of going from here to here.
Yeah.
If
you take a little bit and increase a lot, or if you start with a low benchmark, any increase can be a lot.
Huge. Yeah.
So 400% in the last 2 weeks, ships traveling through this U.S. secured corridor in the Strait of Hormuz. And that is better than nothing. I don't want to be overly pessimistic about it. That's better than it has been, but that also remains only about 20% of the pre-war level of traffic. So we still need a lot more improvement to get back to just where we were, not even something that's better than we were previously, to where we were February before we decided to do this stuff. Now, the strategy from the president appears to be, he threatened to blow up Oman also. I didn't see the full context, but Bridge Day is coming, Power Plant Day is coming. Oman. They're going to say, Oman, look at those bombs. All right, that one was
very nice.
That one was not very good. Trump apparently wants to pursue this economic strategy of sanctions to gain Iran's surrender. As in, he's not, despite all the threats, I can't believe the 50th threat has not been realized. We're not going to go blow them up. We're not going to turn their country into glass. We're going to announce new sanctions on Iran. And the idea is eventually they will get so poor that either their current leadership will give in or the people of Iran will overthrow them. That would be the idea. That would be the goal. Even the Iranian president, in responding to the news about these new sanctions, is acknowledging that the country is facing, quote, many problems economically. The question is, does the Iranian leadership actually care about economic problems or are the people so burdened by the problems that they're willing to risk getting shot in the street to try to take down their own government? So far, we have not reached that threshold, but I think the banking, the idea of the sanction effort here is we will get that effect without risking U.S. military lives to achieve it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine they care about their people being impoverished, because we were hearing reports that thousands, if not tens of thousands of them, were being gunned down by their own government ahead of this. Now, to be fair, there was a total internet blockade, so I have no idea how we're getting these numbers. And, that being said, it is a bit odd that they have not continued, or in response to this, induced poverty, they're not rising up again. So I don't know if that was exaggerated in the first place. But the point being that Iran doesn't care about their people at all. So I found it unlikely to.
They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs will take on new meaning. That's what the Iranians will have to do before there's any hope of change here. And, yeah, I mean, there's all this talk of all the problems, but to your point, we don't necessarily know a lot of what's going on in Iran internally. And for whatever, I mean, I don't doubt that a significant portion of the population does hate the government, given the conditions. That seems logical. Mm-hmm. But the predictions about some sort of citizen overthrow thus far have been greatly overstated. And you have to wonder how much suffering are the people willing to endure before they would even attempt something like that seriously. Haven't met that threshold yet.
And I don't think they're armed, are they?
There was talk that we were going to try to, but I don't know if we ever did that.
Yeah, it's worked never. Yeah.
Well,
anywho.
We also had a temporary deal in place to negotiate a trade deal with Canada. Like Iran, it was a deal to make a deal. Okay. Trump had postponed tariffs on Canada in pursuit of a new trade deal, and I forget how long that's been in place, quite some time. But the deadline was apparently Friday. U.S. and Canadian representatives could not reach a final deal before that deadline. Maybe it was Saturday. I don't know. Sometime over the weekend. So now Trump is imposing 50% tariffs on some $20 billion of Canadian imports. That's about 5.5% of Canada's exports to the U.S. It's not everything, but it's a sizable chunk of what they send here. Canada has pledged to implement equal retaliatory tariffs. So dollar for dollar, they're going to start that on September 8th, they say. And the pressure will disproportionately hit Canada, since what I read is that 70% of Canada's exports actually go to the U.S., which sounded insanely high to me. So somebody can fact check me and tell me if I read that wrong. But the overwhelming majority of Canada's exports are coming here, and if there are big tariffs on it, it's going to hit them. It's going to hit American consumers badly too, but it's also going to hit the Canadians. And we are now over a year into this trade fight too, with, at least in the Canadian context and in many other contexts with other countries, there's not a lot to show for it. And likewise, I've tried to be patient with the optimism of getting better trade deals with countries that perhaps have been screwing us a little bit. But unless I missed it, like, what are the major trade wins that we've achieved so far? Maybe they're out there.
The big loss is because of the Supreme Court. We had to refund $100 billion to corporations, and
the bullshit of that, number one, is the legal. I mean, according to the Supreme Court's reasoning, if you think they reasoned correctly, and I haven't read that case in detail, but anytime they're deferring to congressional authority rather than executive authority with these matters, I generally believe that's correct, unless there's a specific context here I'm missing. The effect of that was to say that Trump acted unconstitutionally, and the refunds that you're talking about, they don't go to the consumer who paid.
No, they go to the government, the company. Yeah.
So a lot of these companies are, I guess if the Democrat socialists are right about one thing, maybe it's the record profits of getting a giant government rebate.
The one silver lining, though, is that, the common sense, the prediction was that the tariffs were going to increase price, and that if you put a 20% tariff on an item, the person selling it is just going to mark up the item by 20%. And historically, that is what has happened. But it actually didn't happen really to a sizable degree with Trump's tariffs. And I wonder if they decided to eat the cost because they assumed this would happen anyway.
Or maybe they had hoped it'd be shorter, like if you think this is only going to last a month, you're more willing to eat that cost potentially.
So the net increase wasn't as big as it could have been, which is at least good, but it still was a failure overall.
However, inflation remains a problem, not on the Biden levels, but it's still at 3.5%, which is well above the target rate of 2%. And I know the Fed's target rate is bullshit.
Yeah,
we shouldn't have a government target rate for inflation. But 3.5 is also not good. And a consideration for us, the United States, 12% of our total imports come from Canada. They are our second biggest trade partner, and those products are now going to be more expensive for consumers, already struggling with that inflation that has been persistent for several years now. And people who listen regularly say, well, you're changing your tune on this. You're sounding more critical than perhaps you were this time last year. You're right. I am. And in principle, I don't love the idea of tariffs. However, if you gave me a choice between a consumption tax like that and the federal government having the power to lay income tax in the way that they do, I would still prefer tariffs. At least we have some option in what we consume there. I was open to the idea that this was going to secure us some solid trade deals and the leverage would work, since in the case of Canada, for example, they are... The majority, apparently, of what they're sending overseas comes to us. They need our market. Maybe they will bend. I don't know. But I don't see the wins. At some point, I have to say that the effect has not been achieved.
But if I do recall, though, when there were some smaller countries that did drop or reduce tariffs on us in reaction to this.
All
so
those
we did have some
luxurious Cambodian imports.
Yeah, I mean, there are countries that have, a population smaller than my state, but some countries did cave at least.
All right. Well, we'll defeat those Canucks. I got a kick out of in the reporting here. What did it say? Yes, hockey sticks. So if you are, we're building our own hockey sticks, you bastards.
Oh, good.
You can keep your maple syrup and your hockey sticks. We don't care for those anymore. I actually do wonder, what is the Canadian hockey stick export quantity? That's it makes sense that they would export such. I just didn't know that was when you think of things that are major in terms of industry, cement is listed here. That makes sense. Hockey sticks. What is the hockey stick market?
Hitting them where it hurts,
I guess. All right. We also have some updates in the Karmelo Anthony case. And that, of course, is Karmelo Anthony was convicted in June of the murder of Austin Metcalf at a Texas high school track meet last year. And Karmelo Anthony's lawyers, the updates here are related to an appeal that he had made for a new trial on a few grounds. One being that there apparently was a gentleman's agreement between the trial lawyers, as in the prosecution and the defense, that he says impacted his ability to testify in his own defense, which he did not do at trial. He has a new legal team that apparently is questioning the way that his prior legal team had operated and whether that meant he got a fair trial or not. The defense also alleged that the trial judge's courtroom restrictions, specifically that there was no public access to the trial, that denied Karmelo Anthony a fair trial. So this week, retired Kaufman County District Judge Michael Chitty denied the motion for a new trial, And when I say he has a new lawyer, Karmelo's lawyer, Russell Wilson, is his name. No, not the Super Bowl winning quarterback, although Russell is looking for a new job these days. I think he's now is he going to be an analyst? TV analyst? I don't know. Russell Wilson, the defense lawyer for Karmelo Anthony, said yesterday, Karmelo will continue his appeal efforts to pursue every legal remedy they have available. So this new judge denies the motion for a new trial. The question is, why was there a new judge to consider these post-trial motions? Well, that's because the judge who actually was who ran the trial, he was recused. He was taken off the case. John Roach was the original judge's name. He was recused because after the trial, apparently he gave an interview in which he agreed that the jury, quote, got it right.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, I mean, that's... Yeah,
but the thing is, he didn't make the sentencing, the jury did. So, like, listen, I could see if the judge set the sentencing and you tried to argue, well, clearly he's biased and that affected the sentencing, that would be one thing. But then again, the judge has eyes and ears, and this was an extremely one-sided case. There's no two sides to this. So,
yeah, I think the facts and the law are pretty compelling here, but the defense motion to get this guy recused, their case was compelling enough that a different judge, a judge appointed from San Antonio, agreed that this judge should be recused. So there was a different judge put on the case, but that judge denied the motion for retrial. So Karmelo Anthony, for now, his conviction, his sentencing, that all stands. Apparently they have some other appeal options they may try.
Yeah.
But go ahead, sorry.
Were you going to explain the gentleman's agreement thing?
I didn't read that much into it. Do you know about it?
So, all right. So there was evidence that Austin Metcalf had anger issues. He had bullied people before and had used racial slurs. So Austin's team obviously didn't want that to come out. Now, it is obviously completely irrelevant to the case itself in that there's no evidence he used the racial slur during this altercation. And his
dad even said watermelon felon. That's how racist they were. Yeah.
And you can be the most racist guy in the world. If you were killed unprovoked, it does not justify it. But we do know jurors have biases, and that could, in theory, affect them. Now, there was also Karmelo Anthony evidence that in exchange the prosecution would not bring up,
which I think is now out, and that's what I was going to get into next.
So it was his girlfriend dumped him the day of the murder.
Yeah.
He was texting her, stalking her to the point where I think she went to the principal or went to some authority figure to talk about it. He had talked about how many bullets do you want in your stomach was one of the texts he sent to her, and then had talked about how he was going to stab someone and then lick the blood off of the knife. And that text was 2 hours before he killed Austin Metcalf. So when you weigh the two, one is clearly way worse than the other one.
You know, I could argue that Karmelo Anthony testifying in his own defense would have damaged his case even further, given his behavior and commentary.
Although, all right, so they also were pointing out, though, Karmelo, some of his texts, he had racist texts against black people. And
I just assumed it was against whites. I didn't see the content
blacks
of the text.
Were in there too. He was talking about how like black women are stupid because the glue on their hair seeps into their brain, and it made me sad. But I'm like, in a different universe, him and Austin would have been great friends, and instead, this is what would happen.
I don't think nothing's funny about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Through this process, so yeah, we did learn more about the prosecution's evidence, and I assume this is probably a lot of the stuff that you had been talking about. So not only that he made this threat against this ex-girlfriend that he was accused of stalking, but specifically prosecutors are now saying they have evidence that Karmelo is a friend of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz.
I've become friends with school shooters,
or at least an aspiring friend of Tim Walz. So during the investigation, prosecutors, they searched for and uncovered prior disciplinary records for Karmelo Anthony at the schools he attended. In 2023, speaking of his texts, he allegedly threatened to shoot up his school. The specific text read, quote,
would have been no casualties.
I'm going to shoot the school up tomorrow. I didn't see the context I don't think we have the full context of the conversation. I'm not saying I've texted friends, hey, I'm going to shoot up a school. I mean, I've texted things in jest that are not good, and if you took only that line, it would not sound good. given his behavior, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that Karmelo Anthony meant, literally, I'm going to shoot up the school tomorrow. I have a plot ready to go and my magazines are loaded. That would not surprise me.
He's a liar too, then.
Maybe. He didn't do it. Now, see, in this story, local news reporting, they just said racist rants. So this must be what you're talking about. But that's kind of cover for him, because I just assumed he must have said, I hate honkies, bro. Boy, I sure do hate crackers. But that's not what he said.
I think he was against everyone, but the black women he hated. But his girlfriend was black too, so he's conflicted. Conflicted guy.
Okay, so he was maybe an aspiring school shooter that didn't get around to it, and he stabbed Austin Metcalf first. And as you mentioned, all this information was excluded from the trial under this gentleman's agreement. Now, recall last time. When I say last time, I mean the actual trial of Karmelo Anthony and all the shenanigans going on outside with the Black Panthers and the harassment of that awesome white monster guy that we talked to.
Patriot.
Yes. Hope he's doing well. But last time during the trial, there was this Black Panther woman outside with a hilariously massive bust, far surpassing even Pelosian proportions. She's back, actually.
Oh, great.
The comically massive tease of this woman and all, she's back to demand justice for Karmelo outside the courthouse.
The new Black Panther Party. And we're going to get their view on today's recusal of the judge.
Oh, Black Power, yeah. Well, it's about goddamn time. All power to the people. That's the first step. Now we need for Karmelo to be released. All of the racist acts that took place under Judge Roach, from them not letting people come into the courthouse when it's supposed to be a public hearing, from them not giving the jury instructions on self-defense, so Karmelo would have never got a murder case in the first place. He would have had, the jury would have had the option of manslaughter, from the racism.
Look at those massive jugs.
Okay. That is Crystal Muhammad.
Okay.
So
she's like a Nation of Islam woman too, then.
Apparently. New Black Panther Party chairwoman as well. You know who alleges she is Nation of Islam is the Southern Poverty Law Center. In fact, she's so bad, and the group is so bad that the Southern Poverty Law Center says they're an anti-white, anti-Semitic hate group. Rooted in the teachings of the Nation of Islam. Now, I was thinking we probably paid for these comically large teas through food stamps, but now I'm thinking
through the SPLC.
The SPLC paid for these comically large teas. But the thing is, when I say that, I don't mean that she had implants, because who in God's name would pay for implants of this comical size, unless you're a shop teacher in Toronto looking to prove a point or whatever that was. When I say paid for these, I mean gorged on food stamp, paid for money, to the point that her teas got that large. And she remains a fascination of physics to many. Like, how is she able, anatomy and physics, how is she able to stand up? It's like one of those things you put on your desk that doesn't look like it should balance, but it does. You know what I mean? Like, it's a marvel of physics. And I just want to see her jump rope. You know, I just want to see her run on a stair.
I want to see ever.
I mean, not in a bikini, just wearing what she's wearing. I want to see her jump rope.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by her bodily structure. Yeah. She needs to be studied. You know, she's a marvel, this woman.
Truly.
Anyway. All right, let's talk Lindsay Clancy. Because while I was out this week, the Lindsay Clancy trial just blew up. And up front, I'm going to acknowledge, like, I did not have a lot of time to read and pay full attention to this trial. It's so crazy that I feel like I must be missing something. And if I am missing something crucial, please send me an email. Here's the fact that you missed, and I will happily consider it. But from what I gather, and Matt, if you have an understanding that contradicts anything I'm saying,
are crazy, man.
All right, let's moving on.
Nuts.
All right, next story.
We're done.
It's time for Super Chat.
Here's the thing that frustrates me: if she was like a smoking hot chick, every woman would hate her. It's only because she's ugly that she gets any attention. Because women hate other women, so why is she getting an exemption here?
All right,
because
Lindsay Clancy, Matt Palumbo would not confirm.
Never.
Okay.
Yeah, infinite years.
Okay, so this woman, Lindsay Clancy, all jokes aside, the subject matter is very serious. In fact, it's one of the most horrific things a human can do. Yeah. She murdered her 3 young children by strangulation. Now, when I say murder, obviously that has a criminal connotation. She would dispute the term murder as a criminal matter, and her defense would, but she does not dispute the act of killing the children, okay? Mm-hmm. She admits to it. That is not in dispute at the trial. And the crazy thing about this trial is, one, the fact that there is a defense presented on the terms that it is being presented, which is its own debate, but the reaction to it, the people outside the courthouse expressing support for her. We'll get to them in a moment, whatever excuse they can come up with that supposedly, if not justifies, makes her behavior understandable, postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis or mental health in general, all of those things. So the facts, as I understand specifically what happened here, Lindsay Clancy is a former labor and delivery nurse in Duxbury, Massachusetts, and she's on trial for first-degree murder after strangling her 3 young children to death on January 24th, 2023. So Cora was 5 years old, Dawson was 3, and Callan, was 8. 8 months old, that is. So an infant. And my understanding, again, is that Lindsay does not deny killing these children. She's not, her defense is not that she didn't do it. Her defense is she had postpartum psychosis. She had over-medication, a combination of mental health medications that sent her into this crazy state.
The some of the doctors that have testified said the amount that was in her blood levels was below the dose it's supposed to be, which contradicts that it was overwhelming her or altering it. So
that I didn't hear. So that undermines the case even more. Mm-hmm. Now, prosecutors are saying the killings were calculated and premeditated. They were indeed murder. So what happened? On January 24th, 2023, Lindsay Clancy sends her husband, Patrick, out of the house on an errand, pick up her medicine at the pharmacy, and get some takeout food for dinner. And phone data and surveillance video show Patrick was indeed at the pharmacy and the restaurant at the time of the killings. I know there's some tinfoily claims that Patrick was not, in fact, where he says he was, and maybe Patrick is behind this, if not indirectly responsible for not intervening sufficiently. As far as I've seen, that's where Patrick was. He was at the pharmacy. He was at the restaurant. You can look at the phone data. You can look at the surveillance video. Okay. So he's out running those errands. While he's gone, she strangled the children with exercise bands, those stretchy things you use, those resistance bands. She killed her kids with those by strangling them. Then she attempted suicide by slitting her wrists and her neck.
That's not a real suicide attempt.
And I'm actually amazed for whatever criticism you may have of unsuccessful attempts. This sounds like it was a pretty serious attempt insofar as she is now paralyzed from the waist down after cutting herself and jumping out of the
so you're saying cutting your wrist has like a no success rate. It's a attention-seeking thing. But
it's just for the sad kids in high school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, when they say, I didn't get a good look, when they say that she slit her, that's also hard to survive a slit throat. Did she just do a very incomplete job?
I haven't seen a scar on any of these photos. Maybe there is one, but I haven't seen anything like that. I just don't get how you're in psychosis when you send your husband out on an errand. Like, there's a logical chain of events she wanted to accomplish, and she planned them all out. It was not this hysterical. And then she called him in the middle of the murders when I think one child was still alive to tell him everything was okay, and then went back to the murder. So
that's part of the phone data that we have is the call that he received while he was or he placed a call to her. She didn't answer, but called him back a minute later. To your point, now I don't know what the technical definition of psychosis is, but if you're totally out of it, you have no understanding of what's going on. Oh, my husband's at the pharmacy and he needs instructions for how to handle this. Better call him back and give him the instructions. It's hard for me to believe that you are mentally beside yourself and totally out of it if you have the presence and the state of mind to make that call back and give him the instructions. Anyway, she jumps out of a window on the second floor. She damages her spine. She's now paralyzed below the waist. Patrick Clancy shortly thereafter then returns home. He discovers his injured wife outside. He then finds his children inside. The 911 call is key evidence presented in court. The audio is not publicly available yet, though you can read some descriptions of it or quotations from it. That's out there. But a judge's order has banned the release of the audio for now. So Lindsay's defense is mental health. Her case is that she suffered from severe delusion of influence, is the term that I saw. And, granted, a lot of these terms are a little bit outside my understanding, but that's the term that they're using, command hallucinations. So you're getting instructions from somebody. She said, I heard a male voice telling me that it was her last chance to kill the children and herself. And so she acted on these command hallucinations, they're calling them, these delusional instructions she's receiving. Lindsay has separate lawsuits against 8 prior healthcare providers, alleging that they failed to diagnose her mental health problems and that the prescription drugs that were given to her worsened her condition. Now, some on the internet, some online, and in reaction to this, are also attempting to blame Patrick. There are claims that Patrick was having an affair. So far, I've seen no substantiation of that. It's just claims.
That's the only thing weird about the case is he remarried 4 months after this. So I actually think it is totally possible he was, but that doesn't change any other facts of the
maybe
case.
circumstantial evidence. Yeah. Obviously, even if he was cheating, bad guy, shouldn't have done that. Does not justify the murder of the children.
Yeah, and I should just say, that's just my hunch, but I don't know. Maybe he met a woman who met him because she knew he suffered through something traumatic, and it just happened that. You do hear about that all the time,
you don't know.
You don't know either. So I shouldn't say it authoritatively or anything, but it wouldn't surprise me if that was also true.
There are claims that Patrick didn't get her help when she asked for it, or insufficiently helped her, didn't help enough. We do know
he bought a nanny for her. She had
that.
help.
I didn't know. Okay,
yeah, so.
Lindsay Clancy voluntarily checked herself into a psych hospital on January 1st. This is about 3 weeks before the killings. She voluntarily checked herself out January 5th after consultation with a psychiatrist. And in hearing people talk about this, I've heard at least some moral blame for Patrick. Like, you knew your wife is clinically crazy and you left your children alone in the company of a clinically crazy person. You should not have done that. I certainly can understand some level of criticism, at least, or potentially moral responsibility if that is in fact how it happened, though I don't know what their conversation was like prior to that. She consulted with a psychiatrist who gave her the clear. She could have told him, listen, I'm better, I've turned the corner, don't worry about it, go get a nice dinner. And he trusted his wife. Whatever happened there, even if he was foolish to leave his children in the company of his wife who had clinical mental health problems and is on medication leading up to this, I don't see any world in which that recharacterizes what she did as anything other than murder.
And it's still victim blaming. Like, if someone walked into a dangerous area of town and gets assaulted and they should have known better, they should have known better, but also they're still a victim, and it doesn't change anything.
And he is. This man endured hell. It's Lindsay who endured hell. We're going to get through to that point soon.
Dude, it's to the point where women I'm seeing in social media, they're basing their decision on the case based off their zodiac symbols. They're like, his symbol, I guess, is bad and hers is good. Or I don't know how
it's a bad
stuff
combination
works,
from the get.
It's a bad juju from space. It's tough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's this criticism of Patrick out there. The support of Lindsay falls into two things that aren't mutually exclusive. There's criticism of Patrick, and then there's the idea that Lindsay is a victim herself, that she didn't get the help that she needed, that she's just in a bad mental health situation that really could happen to any of us. And so you see scenes like what happened this week outside the courthouse, where you have, as I've seen reported, some 300 women all in pink as a gesture of solidarity standing out there in support of accused murderer, in fact, as far as I'm concerned, factual murderer, Lindsay Clancy. And again, they say they're organizing to raise awareness for postpartum psychosis, which is what she says she suffered, and to bring attention for what they say is the systemic failures of women's mental health care, the women's mental health care system. They told a local reporter, as I mentioned, today it's Lindsay, tomorrow it could be any one of them.
One of my sister-in-laws, it could be one of my best friends, and it could be me. So just here to support.
We are hearing her. We see that she tried everything, and I really do believe that she went into a state of psychosis.
We feel like the system failed her. She was begging for help, and no one was there. I don't know if us being here will make her feel any better, but I mean, she's living in hell right now.
The American people are tired of women.
Lindsay is living in hell, but at least Lindsay is living in hell.
It's a whole world without accountability. To be a woman, man. Jeez. It should be me.
She couldn't get the help that she needed. She voluntarily checked herself in and out of a mental health hospital, a psych facility just prior.
Yeah.
And
also,
so go ahead,
I
sorry.
was just going to say, the woman saying the system failed her, like, it's just kind of generally assumed you don't kill your kids. Like, do we need a don't kill your kids system you can turn to, or is it just expected?
Well, and even if I grant the idea that the system failed her, that this psychiatrist who saw her and said, okay, if you tell me you don't have homicidal or suicidal thoughts and we've prescribed you this medication, we're going to let you go. If the system failed her, how? Did it fail her by letting her walk out? Should we have involuntarily committed her? Now,
I guess so.
Based
in
on
that
results,
sense, I agree. Yeah,
I would say yes, probably. Yeah. But do you think any one of these people would agree that she belonged involuntarily in a mental health facility? I don't think they'd agree with that premise. They're saying that the system has to pull every lever exactly correctly, prescribe every pill exactly correctly, and that she has, as far as they are concerned, either not primary or zero responsibility for the physical strangulation of her children. And I think your point is exactly right. If she was in a out of her mind state of craziness, she doesn't behave in the rational ways. Again, rational if you're planning it, rational if you're intending it, that she clearly did. Mm-hmm. You don't take those steps in that logical way, logical pursuant to the outcome of committing murder.
Yeah.
So, but the thing that's frustrating about this too, you can have sympathy for the condition. Like, do I believe this woman has mental health problems? Yeah, based on what I see, I kind of do. Do I believe that the medication she was prescribed probably wasn't good, probably contributed to what happened here? Yeah, I can believe that also. But whatever sympathy you have for her and her condition or the situation that she was in, the primary interest here, of course, as it always is the interest of the children. They're not here anymore because of her actions, and so the interest must become justice for those children. And even if there are ways in which Lindsay Clancy was mishandled or poorly treated by the system, or whatever, however you want to characterize that, she is the one who had the state of mind necessary to kill those kids, to call her husband in the process, to set up the circumstances for that to happen. And those children deserve justice. I don't have to say, like, I can fully understand that Lindsay Clancy maybe was in a bad situation without saying the murder is understandable and it could have been any of us.
Yeah. I also wonder, like, what other people would they apply this logic to? Like, would they, I don't know, if a racist person killed a bunch of minorities, but it turned out he was getting his ass kicked by black people his whole life, would they be like, well, the system didn't protect him, so he lashed out? We'd go, no, it doesn't matter. It's not how you behave. You're just, there are things you're not allowed to do no matter how bad you have it, and you get punished regardless.
Yeah, I think if the prosecution wants to ensure that she gets locked up, Your Honor, I'd like to submit a new piece of evidence. Here's a recording of Lindsay.
You are a
Jail for life.
We'll get her.
You know, I do want to talk about some other comparable cases that I think are relevant for consideration. Before I do, you know who got duped by a Lindsay Clancy meme?
You?
Nope, not me.
Oh.
Recall former outgoing Congresswoman Nancy Mace.
Look at those massive jugs.
You see her tattoos?
We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but
what
I
a
did.
Disaster, man.
I did see them.
Someone was saying, like, you need to have if you don't have a rebellious phase when you're a teenager, you do it when you're in your 50s, and it's way more cringe. And that seems to be by that logic, that's playing out with Nancy, and it's not going well.
Well, Nancy posted a supposed photo of famous fellow non-child murderer Casey Anthony.
Who is
when I say fellow, I don't mean Nancy. I mean Lindsay Clancy.
Who is a shitlib, by the way, on social media.
Casey Anthony is?
Yeah. She's like an anti-Trump shitlib. Yeah.
So supposedly Casey Anthony made a profile picture, I stand with Lindsay Clancy. Nancy Mace tweeted, "This cannot be real." Well, you're right, Nancy. It's not real. There's no evidence Casey Anthony posted this photo. Actually, a meme page claims to have created it. So props to that guy. That's a high achievement in the meme game. Congratulations. But you mentioned how we might consider similar principles in a different fact pattern. Biologically, of course, postpartum psychosis is apparently related to hormonal changes post-birth and a lack of sleep, some combination of factors like that. Now, notably, this killing, this murder, at least as far as I'm concerned, this triple murder, this happened 8 months after the birth of that youngest baby. So hormonal changes wouldn't be as drastic at that point. There are biological differences between men and women with regard to childbirth, of course. However, this sort of parental psychosis is a defense that no man ever gets. At least I've never heard of it, either in the courtroom or in public opinion. So back in 2021, I never heard of this case. Maybe you did. Matthew Tyler Coleman murdered his children in Mexico. The family's from California. He did it with a spearfishing gun. And he apparently did this because he believed what the reporting characterizes as QAnon and Illuminati conspiracy theories, that his children had serpent DNA and would grow up to be monsters. So they had to die, so he killed them. And maybe mental health played a role in his actions. In fact, this case has not gone to trial yet because there's dispute about his mental competency. Did men organize to support him in the meantime? I'm not aware of that. Yeah. Did he get any internet sympathy? I'm not, even among QAnon people. Did he?
They were like, no, he's not one of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Because he brutally murdered children, and justice for the children is the most important thing. So we'll see where this case develops. Maybe once it goes to trial, maybe we'll see men's rights groups standing out there. It could be any one of us. We might spear gun our children. Yeah. And because of this moral delusion that Lindsay Clancy really could be any one of us, at least with regard to women, reportedly, supposedly, many men are dumping their girlfriends if they defend Lindsay Clancy. Now, I think that the headline is overstated.
It's probably just a few text conversations that went viral on X, but
exactly, it's one text that went viral, and we don't even know who it's from.
So we don't even know. Be fake, but still.
Yeah. But yeah, it might be totally fake. It might be real. But the screenshot did go viral this week. Text from unnamed girlfriend reads, "So you're really breaking up with me over a fucking opinion?" Boyfriend responds, "I'm not breaking up with you over an opinion. I'm breaking up with you because that opinion showed me a fundamental difference in our values. I can have compassion for someone struggling mentally without excusing what happened to those children. If I'm choosing someone to potentially be the mother of my kids, I need to trust their judgment completely, especially when it comes to protecting them. What you said created doubt in me that I can't ignore or gamble my children's future on."
He's absolutely right.
Now, whether this is real or not, the points presented here remain. Number one, you date for marriage and parenthood. If she's not in it to be a wife and a mother, move on. And number two, understand that sympathy and mitigating factors in crime, that does not excuse the crime. It does not remove the need for justice. Just because mom had a bad day, which I think Lindsay Clancy had more than that, but she had a bad day in terms of the people who are defending her, that doesn't mean that it's understandable that she killed kids. We're at the point now where women's feelings are the highest value. The inherent value of human life and God's purpose for it is in many ways secondary to the highest value of women's feelings. And to the point you made earlier about abortion, it's easy to see this context and like, yeah, I wouldn't date a woman who justifies or excuses or minimizes a triple child murder in this way. You do have to understand, like you said, Matt, the logic applies to abortion. Many, if not most women, regardless of their opinion on this case, the Lindsay Clancy case, will say that it is perfectly acceptable, sometimes even good, to kill kids in the womb. And if a woman tells you that, understand she's not just justifying the actions of others, she's justifying her potential future actions. You don't have children with people who think it's okay, or at least understandable, to kill kids. I have a lot more to say about the implications for marriage, and it's not to excuse men's obligations in this. In fact, it creates a very big obligation for us that's difficult to approach. But I don't know if you had any more thoughts about the abortion issue.
Well, I was bringing up one of my favorite tweets of all time, and this is like an evergreen post. It's not in response to this, but it applies. Women will do shit like this and then wonder why the entire planet and every major religion has imposed strict social restrictions on their sovereignty since the dawn of time in every place human beings have ever lived.
Bingo.
It's
all becoming clearer.
Yeah. God.
So this don't understand what I just said about men thinking critically about the opinion of women in their lives in this way. When she talks about Lindsay Clancy or she talks about abortion, I'm not saying all men need to run away. In fact, we can't run away. If men are so selective and then refuse to participate, there aren't going to be enough women for all the men. And that necessarily means that people remain single. It means largely that people will potentially live lives that lead them to question their purpose, that lead them away from building a legacy, away from building family. So this is a problem to solve, not something to run away from. Men need women and women need men to build family. We can't just run away from that. We have to lead women morally to the right conclusions and to the construction of family, not the destruction of family. Mm-hmm. And this Lindsay Clancy news happens right at a time where there's a new study or new data out showing men running away or maybe getting ran over in divorce. I'm sure it's probably both. But these numbers are not looking good. According to new numbers from the Institute for Family Studies, the gap between the number of unmarried and married young men, so ages 20 to 39, that gap has grown from 2.6 million to 15 million since 2000. And anytime there's a raw number, you got to be careful with that because lots of population growth since.
But it's down with population growth.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
And if you look back in 2000, the number of unmarried to married men in that younger demographic, 20 to 40, it was close to even. Now, unmarried men outnumber married men 2 to 1. Yeah. So what are the consequences of that? Less stable families or no families being built at all? Sorry, you had a thought?
Oh, I was just going to add, this is for young men, age 20 to 39, not all men. But just to clarify in case anyone was confused.
Right.
But,
so we're talking that younger demographic. I don't know what this looks like if you go with all men of adult age, but this is the age of establishing family. Okay. This is a crucial time to get marriage right. And it's not happening, or at least it's happening less frequently. What happens when men run away or get run over in this way? Less stable families or no family creation at all. What does that mean? Men lacking purpose, or at least feeling like they're lacking purpose without a wife and children, or a realistic prospect for it. Many men aren't going to find purpose in their lives, or they're going to question what their purpose is. And of course, the same situation is true for women too. Unmarried women, I don't care what polls they cook up. You'll tell us about fake polls. And unmarried single women are the happiest women in the No, they're not.
Fucking crazy, man.
Even if they are today at 25, I guarantee you they're not at 50. Mm-hmm. Circle back with them.
Do we know this is only of citizens? Or
I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that piece of the demo. I believe it's just men, all men within the age range is what they're considering. I don't know about citizenship status. But for both men and women, the reality is this too. Without something to protect, and that's what family is, it's something to protect, you make worse decisions. Mm-hmm. By building family, you have something to protect, you have a future to ensure. And you do what? You make smarter decisions because you think more critically about every step that you take. You build family through marriage. To see marriage declining in this way is tremendously consequential. And all of this means that men must lead and not retreat. And as I said at the top of the show, I get it. Easier said than done. I've been in that meat grinder, within the last decade. It sucks. It sucks bad. But all it takes is one. And when you lead, the right woman will follow. You don't worry about the ones who don't. Yeah. I do worry that men look at what's going on with Lindsay Clancy and all the other nonsense, and they just opt out. And I understand why. Like, no marriage is better than a completely destructive marriage if you just opt out. But the goal still needs to be happy, healthy marriage, building family. We have to find that leadership role to, no matter how much women will claim like they don't need no man, that they're strong, independent.
They totally do. Yeah.
When you present them with assertive leadership, whatever argument they think they're making will generally fold.
Do you remember that whole meme where they were acting like, would you rather be alone in the woods with a bear or a man? And they would all say they would choose the bear to be like hyperbolic about how dangerous they think men are.
Yeah.
And then my wife was even trying to explain it to me, like, why is when women think that? And I'm like, honey, you need call for me whenever there's a spider in the fucking bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real here. You would choose the man, not the bear.
Well, and people present it as anti-woman hate. It's toxic masculinity. No, it's recognition that father is a great role for men to play. They need women to do that. It's recognition that mother is women's amazing superpower. Whatever you think you're going to achieve in the career world or whatever. I'm not even dismissing women who choose to work. That's fine. That's great.
Yeah, it's so
But
boring,
when you're
though.
on
Who
your
would wanna
deathbed,
work?
you're not going to reminisce about the promotion that you got or the big paycheck. You're going to hope that you look into the eyes of your children and realize you made good decisions, you lived a great life, and you're leaving a legacy for them to carry on. Yeah. That's what's going to matter. It matters for men and women alike, and we have to maintain that as the goal.
Yeah. Anyone who's worked for a corporation, really, regardless of size, will learn eventually they do not care about you at all. You can be the first one in, the last one out. If they're going to fire you before Christmas, it's still happening. They do not care. You're a cog in the machine.
Well, and that makes them sound like bad guys, but they're really not. I mean, you are hired on a contractual basis to provide value to a business.
Yeah.
And I know that people want a relationship
but people who derive value from it or think of it, but people who think of it as a family and actually believe it, that's delusional.
Correct, but
you have to go in knowing it's not that.
That's misassignment. Like if you're looking for a family relationship in the workplace, you're looking for that in the wrong place. What you need. That's what family does. I don't get me wrong. I'd like a nice boss who cares about me as a person, but the truth of the matter is, man, woman, whoever, you're hired on a contractual basis to provide value for a company. If you don't, they're going to let you go. Or if the company fails, they're going to let you go. And they're not going to call you the next week to check in to see how you are.
Yeah.
Because that's not the nature of the relationship. That may seem cold, but it's not the nature of the relationship. That's for your husband to do. That's for your kids to do. Your brother, your sister, your cousins. And the only way those people exist is if you make the effort to build that family in the first place. So I hope that's the conclusion men reach from this, but we have to take a super chat break because I could go on and on and on. Anyway, before we do, hey, have you considered joining the MC Club? Well, you should. Here's why. Hey, if you enjoy the show, please consider supporting the show by becoming a member of the MC Club. For as little as $1 a month, you will enjoy a series of exclusive perks, including ad-free videos and podcasts, video calls, and a community Discord server with me and other listeners, loot box giveaways with channel merchandise, your name in the credit roll after videos and streams, and much more. But most importantly, you will help keep the duct tape production alive and independent from all those sinister forces of control. Join the MC Club at mattchristensenmedia.com/support. Linked in the description. Okay, time for Super Chats. You got Super Chat good to go?
Yeah. Do you mind if I read one out of order? It's just a rest to me.
Oh, I thought someone was going to say that you made a terrible shirt choice or something.
No, this is a very nice shirt.
Oh, okay. Well, what do you got?
Luna Chick says, Matt P., I finally bought your books on Audible. A phenomenal decision. One of the best you'll make. However, I need to fix one flaw. I'm only an hour in, and I've heard the words, quote, you need to see footnote number, end quote, over 100 times. It is driving me insane. What she's referring to, assuming this is a real human female on the internet,
I think so.
Luna, I'm sorry. I did try to tell my public, convince them not to do this. They're very paranoid about getting sued by Soros people. So whenever I would say something in the book, they would, in the audiobook, read the footnote aloud as to like hedge against anything. And I thought it was totally unnecessary. Their legal team thought it was necessary, so I have no choice there. If it is very annoying, though, we could test if I can send you a PDF. You might be able to do talk to text on that, and it might work. If that works, you can refund the Kindle book then and get your money back, and then you get a free PDF out of it. So hopefully that resolves it. If you're interested, just write to me on Twitter or email Matt and he'll forward it, but I'll fix something out. If not, I can also just mail you a free physical copy or something to make you whole. But
never forget, Matt P sends PDF files on demand.
He touched young people.
Different, yeah, no. Sorry, anyway, go ahead.
Thank you for checking out the book. We really appreciate it.
Highly
I take it you didn't, I've not heard your audio productions, so I take it you did not do the reading then.
No, we sold the audio rights, so we made some cash there, which was
And they get
hedge.
to determine who did the reading?
Yes.
Do you know who that person was?
It's a professional guy who does this for a living. I can't remember the name, though.
I feel slighted. I was not asked to do the reading. Maybe next time. Yeah.
You'll do my biography I'm working on.
All right.
Yes.
Newbie. Oh, I forgot K-Burg. K-Burg is actually up first. My female bosses, Patrick Clancy killed the kids with a couple facepalm emojis and an eye-rolling emoji. Now, what I assume the argument is something like he didn't do enough to help her, and or he was cheating, or he did X, Y, and Z. I saw some mention of the idea that Patrick Clancy like physically did it, that it was all a setup to frame her. If not physically did it, like he did it.
The voice was him or some shit, was what they were saying.
Yes, yeah. But again, based on the evidence that I've seen described, at least, shows he wasn't there. He was at the pharmacy as instructed. He was at the restaurant as instructed. So if he did some kind of op, like he followed, his alibi is very good, I guess, if he was behind it. But yeah, okay, like in the professional setting, that's got to be especially difficult where they're your bosses. So I guess you have to nod along. Oh, that Patrick, what a bad guy.
I just try to monitor the talking points of what shitlibs believe. So when I kind of went in the wild, I ironically agree with them, but in my head I'm making fun of them. But in their head I'm agreeing with them.
You just try to get them to explain their premises more thoroughly. You basically do the WNBA bluff call in subtle terms, like, "Oh, do you think?" Yeah, X, Y, and Z.
I overheard like two women at a coffee shop complaining about like white men or white men entitlement, and I lean in and I go, "White cis men." And they were like amazed that I knew it was.
Exactly.
And in my head, I'm mocking them,
Yeah.
but they thought I was an ally.
You make the argument, Lindsay Clancy should have had a third trimester triple. Well, I guess they weren't triplets, but if she had just killed those kids right
in the
before
womb,
birth,
then it would have solved all this.
That's what she did wrong. Really, she didn't get enough abortions.
Yeah. Here we are. Newbie of death. Newbie of death. What could this possibly say? Let's read it. If you read this,
you are gay. LMAO.
I haven't had any comments about my Wi-Fi network yet. Nobody's noticed.
No, there was some in the last video.
We talked about it then.
We talked
but
about the concept. Yeah.
I don't know how they would find me. You see a name of a Wi-Fi network, you don't know where it's coming from. But
true.
I hope that people in the wild have noticed it. Spirit of Lexington, I hear people say sometimes the idea behind socialism is good, but it just doesn't work in reality. And no, the idea is evil too. We're going to get to that in a minute. Fundamentally, you believe you own the labor of other people and or their property is the fruits of their labor. And no, that's not good.
Yeah. It's always, hey, how do we steal something that's already been made? Like,
yes.
How much money would we have if we took Amazon or Apple or whatever? It's never, hey, let's make our own version of this. And none of them are capable of it, but they never even try anything.
Thank you, Spirit of Lexington. Taker's up next.
Taker 610. Lindsay Clancy looks like an evil, unremorseful Minecraft character with that jawline. Her jaw doubles as a carpenter's square.
Jeez.
I have to inspect. Is it that? We're talking straight on.
She's not good looking.
No, that's clearly acute, but that actually
clearly acute.
That actually undermines the argument because perhaps a right-angled jaw would be less pointy. It would be less pointy than an acute one. I don't know. He's not wrong though. In terms of human dimensions, that's about as close to a right angle as I've ever seen outside of like a perfectly posed elbow or knee.
Yeah, she could take a punch. Anyway, next up is Chumbud.
I get it. Violence against women. All right.
Yeah, that wasn't even a joke, but go ahead, Chumbud.
Oh, sorry. There was an NHL player years ago named Miroslav Satan. I'll have to look that. I'll just I'll search it right now.
All right.
Well, let me do that from here. You want to?
I'm going to read the next one in the meantime.
Yeah.
Yakko, 1977. The women supporting Lindsay Clancy are saying she's the victim. The temporary insanity excuse. She systematically choked her kids to death. In my opinion, that takes a lot of premeditation and awareness. Yeah. Did anyone ever argue that like Chris Benoit deserved sympathy because he had
I forgot exactly what he did.
He also strangled, I think, his wife and kids. I think he sedated them he was a WWE player.
Yeah.
And then it was crazy because when he died, the whole WWD episode was memorializing him. And then I think near the end, they realized the reality of what had actually happened, and it took this like completely dark turn, if I recall correctly. Another great story from me. Anyway, Esoterica Unbound.
Well, first I have confirmation there was a NHL player. He's 50 now, so he's not in the league. But yeah, Miroslav Satan, who's what country is he from?
It must be. Is that
he's
like
Slovakian.
Serbian or Slovakian.
He's Slovakian, but he has the little accent above the S. What does that mean?
Maybe it's
what is that?
It's a differently pronounced Satan.
Okay, I don't know how it would be.
I don't know
pronounced.
their alphabet, but
all right.
Yes.
Well, I guess Lucifer's not alone. Esoterica Unbound. Today, my daughter initiated a debate with me about this case. She trotted out all the TikTok conspiracy theory BS about how dad actually did it, or was to blame, or was just a shitty husband. Maybe he was. I have no evidence to say that he was a shitty husband. But even if he was a garbage husband who cheated and didn't treat his wife with respect or sincerity or whatever, that has no bearing on the justification or excusability of killing those kids. Why would the kids be deserving of punishment for their dad's malpractice? Doesn't make any sense.
People are saying it's pronounced SH, so it's Shaitan.
Oh, Shaitan.
Shatten.
Okay.
Yeah, Shatten.
Well, I hope you won the debate, man.
Yeah, seriously. All right. Spirit of Lexington. As far as I'm concerned, the biggest impact of Trump's Canadian tariffs is it showed us that Canada is an enemy, not an ally. They ran right into China's arms rather than negotiate with us. They're all faggots. The whole like Canadians being friendly trope, we're way friendlier of a country than they are. They just say sorry a lot, but you know what? So does every American. People apologize for like the smallest things in this country. It's gotten to the point where I say to people, "I forgive you." Deadpan whenever they apologize over nothing, and they kind of realize the absurdity of it. But anyway, my point is we're way nicer than Canada ever will be, and we're a real country. They're not.
Yeah.
So fuck
soon they'll be the 51st state, and they'll like it. That's Trump's claim is they're trying to get the benefits of being the 51st state without actually contributing.
Yeah.
And none of this is to excuse Canada. All right, I have all my criticisms of Canada. I make fun of my friend Mark when he's on the show. Okay. However.
He's friendly.
I will also say he is friendly. Very nice guy.
Very good guy.
That's because he's not French Canadian. He just lives among
us.
Anyway, the selling point was not we're going to expose Canada's friendliness with China. The selling point was we're going to exert our power over Canada and get a better trade deal. Even if there's a silver lining of showing that Canada is more friendly with China than the United States, that wasn't the sales pitch for people to get on board with the tariffs.
Yeah.
But maybe that will be useful. I mean, you have Canada's prime minister, or at least the government of Canada, out there saying America has changed. You know, implicitly that we're not the same. We're bad guys now. We're not allies. Whatever. Okay. Well, I've seen some of your new friends, and they don't seem particularly cool.
Yeah.
So
the prime minister is a trans kid, by the way. That's who we're dealing with.
Thank you,
and then the leader of the opposition, Pierre, whatever, the conservative guy, has a gay dad. So we have the opposition leader, the right-wing guy, has a gay dad. The liberal leader, the PM, has a trans kid. So that's Canada. What's next?
Our friend Spencer at Guardian Game Studio.
I agree with Matt P. on sudden infant death, but for a different reason. Follow vaccines and SIDS, and you'll feel sick. Also, I had to unsubscribe from Candace for her take on the women to smush her kids. But it was what other position could Candace have possibly taken? Whenever there's these insane trends, it's the same people take all of them. There's never any actual discernment in deciding which are credible or not.
And I'm not accusing Candace of making this argument in this case because I don't know. I haven't heard what she had to say. Yeah. But there are two arguments for the tinfoil. And again, I love hearing the tinfoil case. I'm not dismissing that automatically. But the arguments that drive me nuts are, look at the timing, because of course every event has timing of some type. Event A happened with relative proximity to event B. Coincidence? Actually, yes, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Not always, but a lot of the time it is. And then the other thing that they'll say, what, you believe the government? Anytime you think a prosecution's case is actually credible.
Yes, actually. I believe the census numbers, I believe the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they've got some good data here.
The inverse is also true. Are you saying that every prosecution is inherently wrong? Every single one?
Right.
What? You don't believe the defense, or you believe that the government would be honest in a prosecution? There are dishonest actors at every level of government. Of course, I don't think you should believe the government automatically, but the point is you believe prosecutors when they present evidence. You don't take them at their word. That guy definitely did it. Trust me, bro. No, they present evidence that is compelling to convince you beyond a reasonable doubt that it happened. And the evidence exists independent of them. I know they have influence on what evidence is presented at trial, and they exert some control over how the trial is, or at least some influence over how the trial is conducted. But nobody believes Lindsay Clancy murdered those kids just because prosecutors say so. In this case, they believe it because she says so, at least killed them. But it's in this case, it's strange to think that claim itself is not credible. She says, I killed them, and there's plenty out there. It's no. It was actually Patrick, because it was all a setup and a cover-up, and all right.
I got a Tim text.
What did he say?
Did you guys miss the Long Don John super about a first date question? I think we did.
Maybe we have I know he goes to Tippy Stream frequently, but I do see Tippy Stream coming in. Long Dong John, if Tim wants to tell you what platform that came in on, I could go dig it up. Or
if Tim, if you also just text me a screenshot of the comment too, I can just read it directly.
Because I don't have it. You're right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim. Okay, let's read just a couple more and we'll get back into the news.
Sure.
Esoterica Unbound. Thank you, Spencer, by the way. Sadly, social pressure seems to be the only thing which compels many women to feign sanity. We may be only one viral media fad away from the crazy bitch zombie apocalypse. Well, we're close to it here, and yeah, I mean, I certainly do believe that women. It's not that I believe it. There's plenty of psychological evidence to support the idea that women are more agreeable. They're more susceptible to social pressure. Men generally are more disagreeable. They're not as easily swayed by the opinions of others. So what happens when women are more persuaded by the opinions of others, generally speaking, and women are in positions of power to influence those opinions? That's what we're watching here. It is, for all the claims of the power of the patriarchy or some such nonsense. No, women have more power now than they ever have. Indeed, more power than men in all, not all, but a lot of the areas that matter. The government, corporate power, Hollywood, and cultural influence that way.
There are countries where like 60 or 70% of all the judges now are women, which is going to be apocalyptic. But anyway, we found Long Dong John's comment. It was a super chat. Thanks to Tim. Well, it looks like, what are your thoughts on Lindsay Clancy is going to be a critical first date question for guys going forward, fellas.
Bingo.
Yes, it is.
It's like how people led their pickup conversations with George Floyd a few years ago. What's your George Floyd opinion? And the thing is, like, women thought that was a gotcha for guys.
Yeah.
But the inverse is also true. Like, tell me your opinion about George Floyd, and I feel like I know almost everything about your worldview.
Remember we covered, it was that show Love is Blind, where the woman asked the guy she was on a date with, like, what are your thoughts on Black Lives Mattering? And
she did it. Yeah, she did exactly that.
And then his response, he goes, I haven't really given it much thought.
Yes, that guy foolishly chased her, and it was a disaster. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. Mole Daddy's going to be the last one for now. Or what were you saying?
Right. Oh, I see one from Tim beforehand, from Tippy Stream.
Yeah, I have Mole Daddy first, but that's fine. You can take Tim.
All right. Tim, number one, Lucifer Heckler sounds like the audience member who is shit-talking the devil while he's trying to launch his stand-up career.
Okay.
All right. Two, even if they named their kid after the show made it very clear that Lucifer is the devil. Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but it seems like they would be clear on the terms. Yeah.
I would assume as much, yeah.
Thank you, Tim. Mole Daddy. I think Clancy killed the kids as part of a revenge plot or a revenge plan for her husband's cheating. Her suicide was likely intended to be cover along with brand new voice claims, just my hunch. Maybe he did cheat and this was in her mind an act of vengeance. Yeah. Again, if that was her thinking, obviously she is a murderer and there's no way around that. There's no world in which the kids need to pay with their lives for the bad actions of their father.
Oh, actually, there's one more comment correcting me, which it's critical context. I got something wrong. Dan the Twan, he didn't marry 4 months later. He moved to New York 4 months later. He wasn't publicly seen with the new wife until a year later. And they got married 3 years after. So I was wrong on every possible way you could have been wrong. Besides 4 months.
Very fake news.
Sorry about that.
Well, there you go. Thank you to the chatter. Dan, the Twan. I don't know how you say that, but thank you for correcting the factual record here. All right.
I'll have to just circle back with you.
Actually, I had what? No, I did Mole Daddy last. Okay, so we'll end Super Chat for there. We will, or for now, we will come back to your Super Chat at the end of the show. And of course, thanks to all our chatters. We appreciate your support for the Duct Tape production. Getting back into the news, I got to get this Satan hockey player off my screen. Where did we leave off? Right. Eric Swalwell. Recall former Congressman Eric Swalwell, who was a favorite to be the next California governor, but then he got ousted for being too rapey, like Graham Plattner. Now, to his credit, Eric Swalwell has really effed off ever since, as far as I've seen. He quit the governor's race. He left Congress in April. And since then, I actually just kind of forgot he existed. Mm-hmm. So whether he's doing that to protect himself or he just has the common courtesy to go away, good job going away, Eric Swalwell. I haven't heard anything from you for months. Well, it didn't work out that great because last weekend he got raided by the FBI.
Excellent.
FBI agents stopped him at the San Francisco airport. They took his electronic devices. They also raided his D.C. home. A source familiar with the investigation tells CNN that the searches are related to an ongoing probe of Swalwell's ongoing probes. It's part of the investigation into the sexual assault allegations against him. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the show, I was unclear. Why would the feds have jurisdiction about whether he consensually touched a boob or an ass or not? The alleged assaults, and again, it's more than that. He's accused of rape by one of these women, straight up, okay? The alleged assaults happened in New York City and Southern California. Generally that's state and local jurisdiction, but reading into it, the feds may have jurisdiction if the sexual assaults constituted an abuse of his official power as a member of Congress. So that appears to be the angle. They're seizing his communications. They're looking at what he said. Did he say anything to the effect of, like, don't you know who I am? I'm a member of Congress. Did he say anything to the effect of, because some of these women were employees or interns or whatever there was going on in the office. Well, hey, you want that promotion? Well, I'm going to need a favor. Did he say anything like that?
Not to defend him, but when we covered some of these, they did seem like bullshit. Like there was the one woman who claimed she was like got a drink spiked by him and then was raped by him, and then ran into him years later, and then they went back to his hotel room again, and the same thing happened. And like,
no, it seems like total crap, just like the case against Graham Plattner seems like total crap as well. Now, as far as the legitimacy of the feds investigating here, I'm guessing this is probably political action by new Attorney General Todd Blanche, who seems open to political action from the Justice Department for revenge. See Comey, see to some extent the Southern Poverty Law Center, though I think that case is actually decent.
Yeah.
But Eric Swalwell, of course, was an impeachment con artist for years. So I assume this is at least supposed to, one of those process is the punishment type pursuits for the Justice Department. It depends on what they find. I mean, if they find the smoking gun of him saying, I am a very powerful member of Congress, now get over here and S this D. Yeah, sure. Maybe they'll find that. But I kind of doubt that they're going to find something that damning. Now, for now, Eric Swalwell has not issued any statement regarding this most recent FBI raid. In April, before he resigned from Congress and quit the governor's race, he denied all the allegations. He said they were made up. Although there was that one video from Martin Shkreli showing Swalwell in a hotel room getting very friendly with a woman who's not his wife. Was that consensual or not? I mean,
Probably.
It looked fairly consensual, but it also, at bare minimum, he was married at the time, and it's not his wife. I remember he was so unclear with his statement about what was going on with him and his wife, which implied that he was in fact unfaithful.
Yeah.
So we know that was going on too.
Bad dude.
All right. Well, you are going to tell us about the polling firm that wasn't. It was all, speaking of made up, it's not just the allegations against Eric Swalwell. Right. It's also the polls that supposedly showed, I don't know, what was it? Nithya Raman, or I don't know who they showed was winning, but
I'll take it from here.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm trying to describe a story I didn't read about. You go ahead.
All right. So there was this polling firm called Median Strategies that had been making headlines recently, and they had polls that were showing Democrats up by huge margins in races that were mostly against other Democrats. But they had that woman, Francesca Hong. She was the Democratic Socialist back candidate in the Wisconsin Democratic primary for the governor's race. They had her up by a little over 20 or so points. She ended up losing by about half a point. They had Karen Bass up 12 points against Rahman in the LA mayoral primary, and she ended up winning by only 5 points. Interestingly, and this was one of the headline catching things about that poll that should have given it away that it was total BS. Their poll claimed that Spencer Pratt was going to get 16% of the vote. He got 25%. But that 85% of Spencer Pratt voters had Karen Bass as their second choice, which seemed like complete bullshit. So this is kind of part of a larger trend. I think 2016 was one of the first major elections where the polls were totally wrong. And, you know, to be fair, Trump's victory was very small in a couple of key swing states. But even that aside, the popular vote totals were off by, you know, usually around 4 points or so, depending on what poll you looked at. And for a long time, people have sort of said, well, you know, I have never received a call from a pollster, so how could I trust them? Now, to be fair, the whole point of a poll is that you don't have to do that. But I think there are things that people have naturally been skeptical of for a while and have increasingly had reason to do so. So, you know, I think in the past, when at least I've talked about polls being faked or have argued that they're misleading, it's by design. It's where they oversample Democrats, or they you know, if Democrats are 30% of the population, maybe they make Democrats 40% of their sample. Ann Seltzer had a infamous now poll ahead of the 2024 election showing Kamala Harris up by, I think it was double digits in Iowa.
Forgot about that one.
And it seems like she was oversampling college kids to get that result. Now, why you would destroy your credibility like that, I don't know. But
so that's not fake, but it's
misleading.
Right.
And historically,
Yeah.
Like in 2016, there actually was a phenomenon where a lot of Trump supporters kind of felt like, you know, they were speaking to people like they were trying to get into a speakeasy, where, you know, they would talk about their beliefs in code, but they didn't feel like they were socially acceptable. So there were a lot that just wouldn't talk to pollsters. So anyway, my point being, the polls there's a lot of issues with the polls. And hey, if we were in a country where, you know, a poll showed someone was going to get 70% of the vote with a 5% margin of error, you know, that poll's probably reliable. They have to be off by a huge margin to be wrong. But when, you know, we're in a modern, you know, when the elections are as close as they are, obviously the margin of error is relevant. But that all brings me to this story of median strategies. Turns out they just completely pulled them out of their ass. There was no calls made. There was nothing, completely made up. And this got exposed because the Los Angeles Times reporter Noah Goldberg reached out to them and just wanted to say, hey guys, what happened here? And they admitted they were completely fake. So they told they told this journalist, Median Strategies was created as a short-term social experiment to examine how purported polling information could enter and spread through the political information ecosystem without independent verification. And the problem too is if people tried to independently verify, they could just make up an Excel sheet where they claim they talk to people. So polling is sort of on the honor system, I guess. They also said, we are not seeking publicity or attribution for the individuals involved and are declining interviews. So I think what really happened here is they were trying to influence the results of elections and then realize this is illegal and are trying to hedge against it. Or this is some like Nathan Fielder kind of situation. If you know who that is.
I don't even know what I don't, but I also don't know what, I'm trying to decode this PR speak for what they're actually saying.
It means we got caught lying. We don't want to be legally liable, so we're going to claim this is a social experiment to prove the media doesn't fact check anything by deliberately spreading misinformation that could alter election results.
I see. Okay. Yeah. You didn't catch us. It was a prank all along to prove a point.
It was a prank, bro. It was just a prank, bro.
Short-term social experiment is a weird phrasing, but okay. Now you've explained it.
Because it raises the question, would they have admitted this if they weren't called out on it? Probably not. It is also amazing because the implication is this is the first time a journalist actually contacted them was after
How long have they been in operation, do you know?
It seems like just this year.
Okay. And then their website is just gone. Yeah.
It says, we've concluded this polling project and will not publish additional polls. All previously published polling releases have been withdrawn and should not be cited or treated as genuine polling data.
But they had no dispute with the citations previously.
Correct, which leads me to believe if it was a social experiment, why wouldn't you want people talking about it? Like, why wouldn't you want it quoted to show, hey, it was crazy? How did no one check this? Anyway, so the Karen Bass campaign actually did cite these polls while she was campaigning. Now, she has since deleted the tweet, and it seems like their campaign... Well, here's their quote from the Karen Bass campaign. Any bad faith attempts to influence elections should be investigated and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Meaning, there is a possibility out there. They were trying to put out this poll to influence the election in favor of Karen Bass, and now Karen Bass's campaign is calling for them to be prosecuted for doing that.
Okay, but we don't have any evidence to say, because if we buy the theory that they're operating for the benefit of Karen Bass, the natural question is there a connection between Karen Bass and this polling firm?
Which
might she be calling for prosecution to cover her own ass?
That was my thought as well. Yeah, so maybe. I don't think they're actually going to, but they're going to be on the record saying, no, we called for a prosecution. So, but will the California Attorney General go after this? Probably not. I'm assuming that they're based in California. I could be wrong, but and then also, I sent you a tweet on this. This is just a concluding note, but someone did coincidentally last week, analyzed 3,000 Senate polls over the past 4 cycles. 73% of the time they overestimate the Democrat support, and it's by almost 4 points, which is significant. And then he found that the biggest polling misses are against working class, rural, and non-college educated people, which now lean Republican. That wasn't always the case. I think it was like up until the early 2000s, they were more Democrat, but Trump has redrawn the map a bit. And then also of note, they said the polling error is the worst over the summer. It improves leading into election day. But just an interesting analysis.
I'd be interested to hear. I mean, he's obviously, I haven't read this analysis in detail, but you can see he's looking at Senate polls over the last 4 cycles, and this plot is the accuracy of all of those polls. Yeah. And no poll is going to be perfect. Obviously, you're never going to be dead on correct in terms of the result, but the reason you're incorrect is going to be related to who you talk to and how representative they are. So you would expect any given poll to be oversampling or undersampling certain demographics, certain opinions. but I haven't looked at this analysis to see what the claim is, but am I understanding correctly when this analysis is saying that the trend against certain demographics, rural conservatives,
they're undersampling them systematically. So
so it's like the entire industry. It's not like,
on average.
oh, this firm and that firm. Yeah. Okay.
So you can see in the black line is historically the margin of error. And it basically looks like it's trending upward overall. I mean, it's at least consistent
slightly,
or upward. My point being, they're not making any changes to adjust for this. So it's as if they want the polls to be off to some extent.
If the polls are off regarding a particular demographic, it's hard to chalk that one. I just ripped people who say, you believe that's a coincidence. This is a coincidence that's kind of hard to believe, though. Certain polls should be biased.
75% in one direction.
Yeah, that's odd,
Yeah, and these are polls that don't have a reputation as being biased. Like the Rasmussen has a right-wing reputation, but right-wing more just gets them to being more accurate. And then the hell's the other one? There's a few that are known for being right-wing that are just treated as outlier polls and not taken seriously. But I'm assuming those are even included in this number, so it's even worse if you factor them out.
All right. Well, thank you for your contribution. Any other points on this story?
I think I'm good.
All right. Well, let's talk more about, polls getting it wrong, I guess. But this is really about Democrat socialists.
Oh, this was so funny.
So the Democrat socialists and their candidates, they continue to get primary wins over establishment Democrats, which is going to make the upcoming midterms very interesting. This week in Florida, Democratic Socialist Angie Nixon defeated another impeachment con artist, Alexander Vindman. When I say another, I mean Eric Swalwell. Alexander Vindman was what was he, Air Force? I forget. But he was the witness to the quid pro quo call. And so that was his claim to fame. His brother is a member of Congress from Virginia.
And it's more moderate, surprisingly, when you look at his voting record. But they're still horrible people.
Well, Vindman moved to Florida like 5 seconds ago and was seeking the Democratic nomination for the Senate race there. And, he lost decisively to Angie Nixon.
He gone! And he outspent her like crazy.
Double digits. Yeah, he was the establishment candidate. They were going to ride this like Trump resistance theme. It did not work, and the polling had him ahead. That didn't turn out to be true. He lost by 10 plus points.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Angie Nixon, who the hell is that? I don't know much about her, frankly. So for me to tell you I know the entirety of her platform would not be true. I've read about her over the weekend, but she is a member of the Democratic Socialists of America, DSA, currently a state representative from Jacksonville. I read through her policy positions on her website. The typical stuff you'd expect to see: full government healthcare takeover, Medicare for all, they like to brand it, universal child care, everyone gets federally funded child care apparently, a national rent freeze, and moratorium on evictions, as though the feds have that power constitutionally regardless. How's she going to pay for all the things on this wish list? Well, of course, we're going to make the billionaires pay their fair share. You've seen all of this stuff regularly from the Democrat socialist aligned candidates within the Democrat Party. She also faced criticism for calling for a ceasefire from Israel a month after the October 7th Hamas attack. And she tried to push this resolution through the Florida state legislature, which is kind of an odd thing to, like, why is this a matter of concern for the Florida state legislature? The reason it'll matter politically is apparently there's a large number, well, it's not a district, I forget. There's a significant Jewish population in Florida, and even Jewish Democrats have hesitation about her for these reasons, according to the reporting.
We in my district, there's a Jewish town that usually overwhelmingly votes Democrat. I don't think they've ever gone Republican. In the last election, it was a special election. It was a DSA adjacent candidate versus like a moderate Republican, and they only went in her favor. It was like 51-49 or 52-48. So they do seem to be. I assume it's just because DSA is against Israel. It must be all it really comes down to. But it does work in the right's favor, at least. Yeah.
Well, so Angie Nixon, according to Politico, a lot of Democrats in Florida are worried that they've now lost their long shot to pick up a Florida seat. They were not likely to pick this up regardless, but they're worried that Angie Nixon reduces their likelihood even further. Yeah. Nixon will now face Republican incumbent Ashley Moody in this Senate race. Moody replaced Marco Rubio when Rubio left to become Secretary of State. So she was appointed by Ron DeSantis. She has not been elected yet. This will be her first attempt at election as the incumbent senator by appointment. And current polling aggregations have Moody 8 to 10 points ahead of either Vindman or Nixon. Some of these polls have already been conducted, or they were conducted with either candidate considered.
You could add 3.7 points to that, according to our last story.
Probably. I think Vindman, for whatever momentum they thought he had, I think that was a long shot in Florida, given the way Florida has trended for a while now. Yeah. Nixon, potentially even a longer shot.
On Kalshi, I was looking it up, and they had the black socialist chick at 8%, an 8% chance of winning.
That high, wow.
Which I thought actually was surprisingly high, but no, I don't think she has a chance.
But they just want to give you health care, don't you know?
And then also celebrate our deaths. It's very, yes. Very confusing.
So on Morning Joe on MSNOW, New York Times columnist Mara Gay profiled Democrat socialists and their supporters. Gay! Recall in 2020, Mara Gay went viral for her gay math. I know you remember. But she was talking to Brian Williams on MSNOW. Back then it was MSNBC. They were talking about Michael Bloomberg's run for the presidency in 2019 for the 2020 cycle. He spent like $500 million of his own money on that campaign. And she said, well, instead of trying to buy a political race, Michael Bloomberg could have used that $500 million to give every American $1 million. Problem, of course, is that $500 million divided by roughly 330 million Americans.
It's like a buck and change.
$1.50 or something like that. As the 7-Eleven cashier says, $1.50. Never forget. That's what we all could have got.
But these people really think you can fund all this stuff only by taxing like 0.1% of the population.
Yeah.
And people on our side will say, these kind of welfare programs work in Scandinavia because it's a homogeneous population. And okay, by work, we just mean the country is not a favela. But the middle class tax rates are 60+%. If you're making minimum wage in Sweden, you're paying 32% plus a 25% sales tax. So there's no escaping this kind of taxation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Mara Gay, still a New York Times columnist. She's wise enough for that. She just can't do basic math. Brian Williams got ripped for not fact-checking that in real time, and you should be able to catch that hearing it. But Mara Gay came with this prepared talking point, so she, of course, deserves most of the scrutiny. Still a New York Times columnist. And Mara Gay recently did a profile piece on Democratic socialists and people voting for Democrat socialist candidates. And during this segment on MSNOW and Morning Joe, she did the meme. And what is the meme? Our friend... actual justice warrior Sean Fitzgerald tweets about this all the time, I see him. And they just want to give you health care. It'll be like a clip of Hassan telling you he wants you dead.
He wants another 9/11. Just want health care, man.
They just want to give you health care. Yeah. And that's what Mara Gay is doing here. She's doing the meme. Oh, come on. Yeah, they have a lot of insane ideas, but they just want to give you health care. And really, there's nothing radical about that at all.
Socialists, the word is like it's like a bad word.
To a lot of people,
but they have some good points. I mean, there's some things that really take care of, some countries that really do have the socialist perspective. They really took care of their citizens.
So the word democratic socialism, the phrase, doesn't scare you?
Doesn't scare me.
What are some of the ideas that you hear from folks like AOC, for example, or Bernie, that you like?
That I like, that we need to do this healthcare piece.
Medicare for all.
Medicare for all. Yes, for all. If you're a citizen, you're born and bred, you should at least be able to go and say, I can get my teeth pulled.
Whether the label is socialism or not, are you seeing a real energy there about some of these more sort of progressive concepts, or just sort of like, hey, there are means to an end. We just need to shake things up.
Absolutely. And I think we should really be careful about how radical some of these ideas are. I mean, some of the DSA platform is super radical. Abolishing prisons is not what is motivating these voters I talk to. But other parts of it, Medicare for all, for instance, the idea that every American should have health care, the idea that people should be treated the same at the voting booth, or if they're going to go into a courtroom, that they shouldn't have special privileges because of who their daddy is. I mean, these are not radical concepts.
This whole thing is fucking bullshit.
Hey, Hitler wants to rebuild Germany, killing millions of people. They're not motivated by that. It's if we just listen to the good parts and ignore the bad parts, it's actually really good.
And it is a bizarre argument to say, yeah, I know they're crazy in any number of ways, X, Y, and Z, but who better to run your healthcare than people who are crazy in every other way?
They do want rapists and murderers on the street, but you will get healthcare after they shoot you. So it's a real win.
Now, to the Super Chatter's prior points, the idea that, oh, this is good in theory, but it doesn't work out in practice. Okay, it's not good in theory, to the point of the chatter. How do you have the power to give me health care?
Right. It's a rationing system anyway. Like, people, they don't, it's not like you can go to one of these countries and they cover everything. It's like in the UK, it's rationed to a certain dollar value per expected year of life. And if you're in your 70s or 80s and need a certain surgery, it's not getting covered. I mean,
do you think that it's like AOC said the other week, well, my job as a member of Congress is to guarantee healthcare for Americans. Okay. That actually is very radical. Not even in the political Overton window sense, in the natural existence in this world sense. What I mean by that is when you say that you guarantee you can provide me with a service or product, you are telling me you can defy the rules of scarcity.
Yeah.
You are telling me that you can manufacture the labor necessary to provide that good or service on demand. And of course, how do you do that in sufficient quantity if the people who provide those services decide they'd rather not, that they don't actually agree to the terms? The only way you can guarantee that is to produce it in in a volume that requires you to compel the labor of others. You have to crack the whip of slavery to actually come remotely close to achieving that. So no, in theory, it is not good. You necessarily must claim ownership of the labor and property of others to do what you're talking about.
I support free healthcare if your body mass index is below a certain number. Like, it's a great motivator.
What about that Black Panther lady with the giant teeth?
No, not happening. Sorry. I want Medicare for none.
You know what's strange about her? Let me pull her back up. No. This is going to be a strange thing to say. But one of the things that's so fascinating is, now don't get me wrong, no one would look at her and think, that's a thin woman, very fit. Maybe her legs are actually jacked from carrying those tees around the time. I don't know. One squat is worth 10 when you have those things hanging off your chest. Heavily loaded front squat is what she's doing every time. What I'm saying is, outside of those monsters, she's not like ridiculously overweight. She's not like insanely fat.
It's a distribution issue here.
It's crazy to have,
ironically,
that much chest, like the chest to belly ratio. Her belly is not that big.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have to come back to this lady. Anyway,
it's a scientific anomaly.
I think we should give her Medicare for scientific research purposes.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I need to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, that's all I really had to say about that. There's nothing that radical about it. It's completely radical with respect to the natural law of the world. You can't, if I told you that I can guarantee you hamburgers. I know I said this in the video, but like, I guarantee you hamburgers. I guarantee you peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You would rightly laugh because you'd ask me, how do you have the ability to snap your fingers and produce the bread, peanut butter, and jelly necessary, and the person who's going to spread those things on the bread and put the sandwich together to deliver it to me? How? How do you have the ability to guarantee that? You can't guarantee labor from others unless you coerce and force the labor of others. Yeah. But they never admit to that part. Oh, well, we're not forcing them. We're going to pay them to do it. How do you pay them? From where do you get the money? Either you take it from other people, in which case, again, you're claiming ownership of their property, or you do what? You go to the government money printer, you make it go burr, and you devalue through inflation the value of everybody's savings. So one way or another, everybody pays for that. Yeah. The only difference is now you're telling me I must. You're saying by force of law, I must.
Yeah. And I think there's an argument to be made that we are seeing a rise in euthanasia in Canada and certain European countries. And
I thought the youth were in Asia, not Canada. Sorry.
But I don't think it's crazy to suppose that, healthcare rationing or wanting to save national costs could to some degree motivate part of why that's happening. I mean, I don't know if that's the explicit purpose, but could be part of it, part of the why it's happening so much.
Like anything else, it is a limited resource. The labor is limited. The materials required to provide healthcare are limited. Of course, I would like maximum access for maximum people, for maximum life-saving potential. But if you think that like a bunch of buffoons who have never produced anything in their lives are going to get in position of government power and direct people who actually do produce things how to do it better, they've never made or accomplished anything in it. They've sat around subsidized on the taxpayer, thinking about these things in ridiculous, unnatural theory that doesn't really exist. They're going to go in and apply ridiculous, unnatural logic to a world that actually does have rules that you must follow, and it's all going to blow up. I have a lot of, trust me, I buy insurance out of pocket because I'm not self-employed, but I work for a company that I own for tax purposes. Now that
You're
company,
self-employed.
No, I'm not.
I guess you are.
As a practical matter, I am, but as far as the IRS is concerned, I'm not.
Yeah.
But that means that my insurance, my employer does not provide insurance, and I have to buy insurance. And trust me,
you have to pay double the Medicare tax too.
No, I don't, because I'm not self-employed. Maybe, I don't know. My tax guy knows. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I've been paying double the FICO, unless I've been scamming myself.
I have a very learned tax guy who handles these things for me. He's got it under control. He's getting me the best deal he can. Right, anyway, what was I talking? Oh, I understand how frustrating private insurance can be to buy and to operate with. But you know what's cool? If it sucks too bad, I can go get insurance from the other one.
That also fucking sucks ass.
There are plenty of things I might complain about there, but the point is I would rather have the option than not. And when the government takes over, they're going to give you no options. They're going to take your money and they're going to say you're stuck with what we offer, and if you don't like it, tough. And your family's life depends on that. Good luck.
Yeah. They sound some hoax hate.
Yeah, you got it. Queued right up.
Now, the nobody saw it happen, but it's totally a product of Trump's America hoax hate crime of the week.
Ah, shit, it's backwards. You think they'll notice?
Sorry, it took me forever to find that story because I had to go back in all my stories to find those giant T's. I had to take another look, and then I got lost in all the web pages that I have open. The leader of a Cincinnati mosque says his facility was vandalized and stolen from for the third time in 7 years. It happened earlier this month. And there's no available evidence to say who did this or why, but it is apparently a hate crime based on one harsh word.
Oh my God, not again.
This is the scene Nashid Shakir walked into at the Cincinnati Islamic Community Center on Tuesday.
I think it's some individuals that actually need help.
Shakir says thieves broke into a side window and stole food, money, and TVs. But they didn't just steal.
This whole thing being broke is just a malicious act.
Thieves also tore the center apart and left hateful messages on their whiteboard, including one message reading, "Die." Ali Rashid Abdullah, a board member of the center, says it's not the first time they've been broken into, but he says that doesn't make it any easier. Shakir says he believes it wasn't a random crime.
You don't have to steal stuff and tear stuff up unless you're trying to make a message or it's personal. We pray that we find you so that we can talk with you and then make sure that you have second thoughts about doing this again.
Uh-oh. Really cutting his hand off. Dude, that delivery.
We need some of that.
Uh-oh, not again.
Thank you for the soundboard submission.
Oh
it's so
God,
like
not again.
It could work so well for like a wholesome local news story, that kind of, I don't know, or something lighthearted, but I know, it was just so funny juxtaposed with this. And I don't know, it looks like when someone tries to stage a crime scene, like they just randomly push shit over for no rhyme or reason. They don't steal anything.
I hate this foldable table.
Yeah, let's kick that. The chairs are all fine. Yeah, it just seems kind of weird. I don't
Speaking of the soundboard submissions, it's not just...
Oh my God, not again.
It's also
there's not cameras.
Well, that's its own question, but I appreciate this quote from the story.
Die.
I needed that button on here, but if we don't, when they just, that's the thing. It's a hate crime because they wrote
die.
You might say that for any number of reasons. Like, hey, I don't like your face.
Die.
Yeah.
I don't like the stupid yellow paint on the wall in here.
Die.
What do you call a singular dice?
Die.
Who knows what that meant when you just write that on a whiteboard. So the claim that this is obviously anti-Islamic, we have no substantiation for that. And you're right. It's hard for me to understand why you don't install security cameras after they've done this 3 times in 7 years. CARE is raising money for the supposed attack and to help the mosque rebuild and apparently install security cameras after the 3rd time. And so far, they've raised over $28,000. And this, I've not seen, in searching for a GoFundMe, I found this, but I've never heard of this platform. Launch Good? Have you? Launch Good is a new, or maybe, I don't know if it's new. I've just never heard of Launch Good.
I don't know.
Well, hopefully they get their cameras this time. But also in Spokane, Washington, we have supposedly an anti-transgender beating. A transgender air quotes man, so a woman who says she's a man, was attacked at her home by a stranger with a hatchet in the middle of the night, sometime around 4 a.m. And she narrowly survived, but she says the incident was a hate crime targeting her for her transgenderism.
A fight for survival. That's what happened right here in the front yard of this South Hill home.
Still have some pieces from the storm door.
But he says he'll never look at it the same way again.
He just ran at me, hatchet raised.
According to court documents, in the early morning hours of August 10th, Wolf woke up to the sound of glass breaking outside of his home. He grabbed a baseball bat and walked outside to see what was happening.
Clearly the transgender
That's when he encountered 25-year-old
woman set up the sprinkler
Sean
system
Jones.
herself.
And then he started hitting me on the arms. He got me here. He got me here. He got me on this shoulder.
Wolf says the fight lasted only a few minutes, but in the moment, it felt much longer.
The clear thought popped in my head, I might die on my front lawn.
Wolf's fiance watched the attack happen and called 911.
The PTSD is the worst, I think. She thought he had killed me.
Before police arrived, Wolf says he was able to hold Jones down using his baseball bat. And in those moments, he said he tried to understand why this was happening.
Why did you do this? Why would you do this to someone?
Wolf, who identifies as a transgender man, says while the person who attacked him is random, he and his family believe this incident was not.
I mean, I don't know him. He doesn't look familiar here at all. And to show up at a property at 4 a.m. with a hatchet does, to me, speak of some kind of premeditation.
That motive has not been established in court. According to a pretrial report, Jones has no prior criminal history. The report also says Jones told officials he believes he needs mental health treatment for schizophrenia.
I'm so ecstatic to be alive.
Jones is facing first-degree assault charges and is currently being detained in a hospital where he will remain until finishing his treatment.
Dude, that
First of all,
that lawn is part of the 41%. Holy hell, man.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's true. A transgender person enthused to be alive for once. Very, very rare.
Oh, man.
Now, first of all, do we know that the hatchet man didn't have postpartum psychosis? And that's really why
it's impossible.
We need to investigate. But how weak must this man have been that he had a hatchet and still lost a fight to a chick?
Yeah, seriously.
And
he definitely was mentally ill then.
Strange that this woman has such minimal injuries after a nearly fatal hatchet attack. Reportedly, and we do have a photo of the injuries, she suffered a skull fracture. Now, I would also say, based on the injuries on display here, I would say there's a non-zero chance that this was actually just completely normal lesbian on lesbian domestic violence, and the hatchet guy just happened to be walking by and got the blame for it.
Bingo. And also, Seattle is one of the cities that doesn't punish criminals, so...
Well, this is Spokane, but still Washington.
Oh, what did I think? Oh, all right, my bad then.
Well, I don't know what Spokane's...
It's a blue state regardless, but not quite, this person would probably be against putting most people in jail for
They call it
legit
Spokane
reasons.
for a reason.
Spokane.
Yeah. Now, you're saying the photo that this woman posted on social media survived getting hit in the head with a hatchet at 4 a.m. this morning.
Doubt.
Did he use the blunt end of the hatchet? Like you have a small cut on your forehead that looks like it has a couple stitches in it or something, or a couple bandages. I don't even know what those are. There's no way he used the blade to hit your skull, and that was the result. And the odd thing here, the charges are only first-degree assault, not attempted murder. Why? If a guy is swinging a hatchet at your head, how is that not attempted murder?
Yeah. There's not a cut anywhere.
This on the forehead looks like a small one, I guess, but it's just like a black eye from a hatchet? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't get it.
So it doesn't really add up. But to your point, even if this is actually just a hatchet-wielding stranger and it's not some kind of fakery, because there was a guy arrested and charged, that much we know. So whatever violent interaction happened, the odds are much higher that it was just some deranged drug addict who was roaming the streets and happened to get in a fight with this woman, or happened to target them for whatever insane reason he has in his head. Not a guy who just can't stand transgenderism. In fact, there's no evidence that the attack was motivated by transgenderism, other than the fiance and the woman here who was hatcheted. They say they heard the guy say transgender before the attack. But even that, this is according to the Spokesman Review, the Spokane newspaper. But even that is somewhat contrary to what she just said in that video news story. She said, he just came at me running with a hatchet. Now you're saying there was some kind of conversation ahead of time in which he mentioned transgenderism. If that's not a contradiction, it seems odd that you would omit that part during the video news story. Maybe she didn't get a favorable edit. But I have a hard time believing they wouldn't include that claim if they were making that claim. So different versions of the story given to different news outlets, that's a sign the story is made up as they go.
I just feel like if someone was breaking my windows with a hatchet, I would shelter and call the cops.
Well, they did call 911.
But it seemed like she confront, unless I'm picturing this wrong in my mind, did she leave her, what am I saying, she? Or
it is a she,
it is
but
a
it's
she.
very confusing.
She pretends to be a man. I'm sorry. It looks like a woman to me, so that's why I'm saying she, because it actually
is a woman.
Because it actually is, yes. Anyway, did she leave the house to confront this guy, and then that's when the altercation happened?
If you watch this, they're saying that he was hatcheting at the front door and she went out and got into a physical altercation with him. The implication is that she was holding him. She says she held him down with a baseball bat on the dead lawn while the fiance called 911 is what I heard in that.
Stay inside, people, unless you have a gun. But
yeah, I mean, I would say
don't get why you'd put yourself in a
bring
situation.
your woman fists to a hatchet fight, but she did and won. Actually, she brought a baseball bat, she says, not just her woman fists.
Yeah. But you can't really, you can't win a knife fight. You're going to get.
She did.
That's
what she's saying.
There's something missing here.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It seems like drug deal gone wrong, like guy or something.
Yeah.
Guy shows up late at night to deliver the goods, and they're, hey, you shorted me. Hey, that's not enough money, and they start beating on each other. I don't. Frankly, when she says I have no idea who this guy is, he just started hatcheting my door. I don't believe you. But the only context in which I might is if he's just an insane drug addict who's doing insane drug addict things.
Which is totally plausible.
Yeah, it sounds par for the course in a lot of these places. So. All right. Well, that is going to do it tonight. We'll get into Super Chats, and we will call it a stream. So let me pull it up, figure out where we left off.
I think Daniel Jagger was the last one.
Let's see. We did Tim. I don't think we read Daniel Jagger, though, did we? Okay, so grab that one.
Didn't the band Hurt write a song? I think it means a song called Rapture 20 years or so ago with lyrics that eerily parallel this case. I assume he means Lindsay Clancy. I don't know the song. I'm going to look it up.
I don't either.
Right now.
I know the song, the 9 Inch Nails and
Johnny Cash one.
The Johnny Cash one's called Hurt, but this is a band called Hurt. Okay. I'll have to look it up.
I'll look it up.
You go for it. Normally, I can't really play copyrighted music on the show. I get in trouble, so I have to be careful about that, but you can look up the lyrics and see what they sound like. Dan, we got that one. Thank you, Dan. Esoterica Unbound. Lindsay Clancy is the Luigi Mangione of motherhood.
He's absolutely right.
So, well, good way to put it.
Yeah, kinda. They have similar fans, I bet. The Venn diagram of Luigi supporter and Lindsay supporter is close to a circle, I would think.
Yeah.
Burn bridges. We got Lunachick, right? Thank you, Lunachick.
Burn bridges brightly. Did I hear Matt being you, say he wants to see Crystal Muhammad jumping rope in a bikini?
No, just in her normal outfit.
So yeah, he said not in that. Specifically not. I just know the AI. I know just the AI tools for the job. I got you. No need to thank me. So next episode, we'll all be watching
If
this
you post it
together.
in the AI slop channel on the server, I'll take a look. And Burn Bridges Brightly has done some quality AI productions in the past, so I'm sure he'll make a good one. But not to discredit the AI production, I want to see this not for sexual gratification, obviously. I want to see it for scientific understanding. Like
physics is what we're...
Would she get bruises like this lesbian on her face from those things swinging up and down? Would she get bruises on her abdomen from those things swinging up and down? Inquiring minds want to know. Thank you, Burn Bridges.
Entropy Nomad.
Yeah. Choose or choose not, modern man. You are going to regret it. I do fear that is... the situation that may be becoming real, at least for the moment. When we say choose or choose not, it's choose family and get burned by women who are empowered within the legal system to leave you for any reason, destroy your family, take what you've built, all of that. Choose not and leave, and of course, live a life where you may be questioning what your role is, what your purpose is, all of that, and not leaving a legacy for the future, which... to me, defies the observable truth of this world, that human life has value. We all have a role in perpetuating it. Yeah. And yes, you do have a moral obligation to build family. I would not have agreed with that premise in a prior point in my life, because I just thought, like, everyone's the master of their own life. And if you don't want to build family, you don't have to, and there's no moral problem with it. No, every single one of us, not only are we inherently valuable according to our creator, God himself, which means if human life has inherent value, we have an obligation to perpetuate it. And that's what building family is. It's perpetuating human life on morally square terms that respect its value. But I lost my second point. What the hell was I thinking about?
Well, I kind of want my own. I want my own dynasty. But then I realized I don't even know what my great-grandpa's name is. So within 2 generations, I've forgotten anyway. But at least I started something, you know?
Correct. But that's exactly it. Thank you for reminding me of the point unintentionally. If you don't buy the idea that you have a moral obligation to God to build family, which I think you do, but let's say you reject that premise, you also have a moral obligation to every single person that struggled before you, that built the life that you have, that gave you life. All the struggle of all the generations for centuries and millennia prior, was it all just so you could play Xbox, or so you could go find yourself in the woods?
But not mostly, yeah.
It's like those memes. I've seen one recently. I saw one that was like, oh, what was it? I can't remember the exact phrasing, but the premise of the memes is like your great-great-grandfather looking down on you from heaven after, I think the phrasing in this meme was like, survived multiple wars and birthed 8 children, like 6 of whom died of disease. Also, she could watch you complain about how the time just isn't right, or you have different priorities, or I forget, it was phrased more cleverly. But everybody who gave me life and you life, they are owed more than just, I don't know, man, I just don't think I'm the right guy for family. I think I'll pass. I think I'll indulge myself in whatever hobbies I have. And I know that sometimes people take what I'm saying the wrong way too, and they think, like, if you can't have family biologically, you have fertility problems, or you have X, Y, or Z condition. What are you saying? My life doesn't have value? Sometimes I'll get messages to that effect. Of course not. Of course I'm not saying that. Your life inherently has value, whether you build family or not. The point is, if you can, due to that inherent value, you do have an obligation to perpetuate it, and you should.
The good news is that, I mean, I know our birth rates are below replacement, but if you chart it by political ideology, it's been consistent for conservatives for as long as the data has been on record. Almost all the fall has been amongst people who are liberal and very liberal. And Republicans are reproducing above replacement. So it really comes down to, can we retain the ideology? Can we combat the propaganda in school? And if we can just prevent them from becoming, our kids from becoming liberals for a generation or two, we'll greatly outnumber
Well, that's the
them.
other thing. Like, if you are a conservative-minded person, a person of traditional values, how do you expect those values to sustain? How do you expect them to survive, even to flourish? Unless you build a future for them, which necessarily includes children, they ain't. It's over. So, yeah, I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir. I know the vast majority of the people who listen to this show and shows like it are going to understand and generally agree. But in ways, I'm like talking to my former self. Not that I look back at the past and like my 20s and look back with shame or something. I would advise myself to make different decisions. But there was a time where I lacked moral clarity on this, that I thought like there is no moral value assigned to the decision to have family or not. It's just some people choose it and some people don't. And it's not good or bad. It just depends on what you choose. No. Everybody does have a moral obligation to do that within their capabilities. And indeed, it's not just a responsibility or a duty. You will find that it is the greatest value in your life. I mean, there is nothing I wouldn't, if it came down to it, I would sacrifice everything, including my life itself, for those boys.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's supposed to be.
My daughter acts like I'm Superman every time I come home. It's incredible.
That's the other thing. You know, I think men have this inherent desire to be a hero, to save the day.
I get to actually be one now. It's great.
Right. And realistically, almost none of us are going to be heroes. We're not going to win the Medal of Honor. We're not going to be a New York City firefighter running up the stairs to save the day or save someone on 9/11 or whatever. Those types of situations. You can't be, most of us cannot be the hero that we might long to be in that sense. You absolutely can be the hero to your kid. And like you said, you are every day just by being there. They are as amazed with you as you are with them. And for people, again, I say it with tremendous respect for people who can't, because I understand that's a painful situation when you want children and you can't have them. But for people who could and opt out of it, I can't tell you how much you're missing out. And I don't say you like you're someone other than me. You are me with my prior attitude, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's kind of the attitude I had toward this stuff.
Very nice. Esoterica Unbound. The bear or random man question for women was always overly simplistic. It needs to be followed up with by bear or random black man. It's unlikely they'll answer the same way. I've seen people do this where whenever a woman on social media complains about men, someone will comment, even George Floyd, and that derails the entire discussion.
I don't even like racism.
I do need to hear an answer to that question. All right. Newbie, thank you, Esoterica. Newbie is back. He says, Jimmy is greater than Viva. Now, I assume you're talking about Viva Frey?
Maybe?
Yeah.
Which one's Jimmy? My brain is blanking out.
There are a lot of, there's Jimmy Dore. There's Mr. Beast is named Jimmy.
Ooh.
There's Jimmy Kimmel.
He's definitely not better than Viva.
Yeah.
So it can't be him.
What did Viva do? And what did this, I don't know what Jimmy did to be greater than. I'm trying to think what Jimmy, because I don't feel like any of those are the Jimmy he's talking about. What Jimmy am I missing?
We're slow people, man.
Thank you, Newbie. Two Dogs. Is this mine or yours? I forget.
I think this is me. Two Dogs, Mike D. Great name. Canadians aren't friendly. They've perfected passive aggression because they don't have the balls to talk trash to your face. I think they're friendly. I just think we're friendlier.
Well, there is a lot of truth to that. A lot of my family is classic, nice Midwesterners, and I'm sure I have a lot of that in my personality too. But when nice means unwilling to confront the truth and have difficult conversations, that's not actually nice. It may seem nice in the moment, but long term, that's not nice. You have to be, especially with family and people close to you, you have to be willing to present the truth, as tough as that may be. Now, am I saying you need to go be a? There is another side of that. I think a lot of like New
Don't be a
Yorkers
dick,
are
but
actual
stand
dicks.
up for good things. Yeah.
Yeah, like there are a lot of actual dicks in your part of the country. So.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
But there is another side, and the other side is so nice that you won't talk about anything difficult, even when the situation requires it.
Yeah. Producer
Tim says, yeah, as someone that is under, and thank you, Two Dogs, appreciate it. As someone that is under an extensive government healthcare system, it's a broken system in a lot of ways. Took my dad to an emergency room last night. 16 hours later, he's still in a bed in emergency. By the way, this is in a population of just 28 million or so people down under. Well, Tim, I know that your family's in a tough situation there, and I didn't want to say anything publicly because I didn't know if you wanted that to be public or not. But of course, we wish your family the best. We hope the best for your dad.
Of course.
Tim is usually sitting in and handling some technical things and keeping us on track live. Tonight, he's kind of in and out because of that family situation. So we appreciate your effort as always, Tim. And of course, all the best to you and your family. And we hope for a speedy recovery for your dad.
Yes, sir. Newbie of Death confirmed he meant Jimmy Dore.
Oh, well, so I got. Wasn't that one of the Jimmys I named? Did I get that?
It was,
right?
yeah. You were
Okay.
1 for 3. It's not bad.
Okay, so I don't know what the dispute was, but at least I got the Jimmy.
We got the Jimmys. We know Jimmy is greater.
Esoterica
Unbound. Identifies as a transgender man, which is to say a bush lesbian.
Bingo.
Lesbianism is so bizarre because it's like, yeah, I like women. What kind of women am I into? The ones that don't look like women.
Yeah, I don't. And I just assumed that the fiance in this case is female. I'm not sure I saw female pronouns. And frankly, you can't trust the pronouns in the story either. Like, look at this reporting is from the story, the local KREM CBS that ran the video story that we saw. Spokane man describes fighting off man. I mean, I don't know. The guy doing the reporting seems like a twink himself, so who knows what the hell's going on
Everyone's
here.
probably gay there.
Yeah, I don't know. Xander is the guy, the woman's name. Okay, whatever. It's very confusing, but yeah, you
they
you
never
can't
have
just
real names ever either. It's like always Juniper or like Astra or some shit. It's never like Joe or Jim.
Yeah.
Stupid.
All right. Thank you, Esoterica. Injured Guardian.
Worst tease. I think I'm taking yours. Black Panther or Bianca Ellis? You mean worst transgender?
So the Black Panther woman, worst
Who's
tease,
that?
like the rack. What do you mean? Who's that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are these worse than Bianca Ellis?
I'm thinking of the movie Black Panther. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let me pull this up because I don't know
who Bianca Ellis is. I'm sorry, I blinked out.
Bianca.
It's late.
Well, I don't see any photos of. I
don't know who
remember
Bianca
now.
Ellis is.
She's the one. This is not. I thought it was like some celebrity. She's the one who was convicted of. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Oh no, I have to pick.
Can I get just the image here? There's a YouTube video. I'm not going to pull up the video. Okay, let me pull up the image. It's a little low res, but let's zoom in.
Oh God! I guess Black Panther lady. Jesus Christ!
I think it's Bianca who. I mean, these are saggier.
No.
There's no doubt these are saggier.
They're her stomach. Like, what the? Also, she's a murderer. So I'll go with the Black Panther lady.
Don't think the Black Panther lady isn't. She might be.
She only supports murderers. She's not a murderer. So that's better, I guess. Ew. Thanks for the question.
I'm going with Bianca.
Yeah.
I forgot all about those. Okay. Injured Guardian also says, shut up, Neil, as in Mohan, the guy who runs YouTube. Coin toss. Treat LC, Lindsay Clancy, the way I would treat arsonists or the way I would treat PDF files. So I guess I don't know the distinction. Would you be lighter on arsonists than PDF files? We had the discussion earlier about whether arson, like was committed in Spokane, allegedly, should warrant the death penalty insofar as it necessarily puts a massive amount of people's lives at risk. But frankly, I think both should probably should sex crimes against minors be eligible for the death penalty?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean.
So it's one of those things where it's like, if you're willing to do that, what aren't you willing to do?
Yeah, I mean, So he's saying coin toss. That's right. So I guess he's saying he could go either way. But neither is deserving of any sort of lenience, of course.
I think he probably treats pedophiles worse, so I guess I would hope for the coin lands in that option.
Thank you, Injured Guardian. Yeah. Oh, God.
Take your 610 with Canadian healthcare. You have it made.
That's the other...
That was good.
The other evil... If people don't know, MAID as in the acronym Medical Assistance in Dying.
They kill you.
Assisted suicide in Canada, which we've talked about a few examples of these cases. The volume at which that is increasing is astounding. It is now one of the top causes of death in Canada. And supposedly it's, I forget, in their legal system, is it terminal conditions only? I think it's just like if a doctor signs off on it. It's like abortion in Massachusetts. If an all-knowing, all-wise doctor says it's okay, then it's okay and it will be done.
And we discussed this in the last show. The type of doctor that would grant that kind of authority or authorize that is going to be ideologically motivated. Because would you and I seek out that job?
Canadian made doctor? I would not.
Yeah, exactly. To get that job, you have to be someone sympathetic. I think the example I gave last episode was before marijuana was legal in New Jersey, there were doctors that specialized in giving out medical marijuana prescriptions, and it was doctors who designed it where basically 100% of people were eligible because for them it was just a business. And it's, I guess, the ideological version of that. But a normal, pro-life Christian is not going to go for that job.
All right. Well, thank you for the clever line, Taker. Really appreciate it. I think we're all caught up.
We're it, yeah.
So we will leave it there. Anything else you want to mention before we are done tonight?
I guess Lunatic, if you're watching, don't forget to reach out. We'll try to figure out some kind of fix. I could also read the book directly through Zoom over the course of the next week. Worst case scenario.
I'll do it live for you.
We'll do it live, but we'll probably find something better solution for you.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. Appreciate our live chatters and our super chatters for making the live show a success. If you're listening on demand later, thank you kindly as well for supporting the show. Thanks to what?
One more just came through. Should I read it?
All right. I can stop the music. What do we got? False start.
She, PS run. I don't know what your name's going for, man. I'm sorry. Matt, I've been watching you for over an entire decade now. You're the man. Keep it up. Hope you and your family are doing well. Thank you. Very nice. I'm sorry I butchered your name. I'm sure it means something.
You're very special.
I assume he's talking about Palumbo, right? No, I'm just kidding.
No, of course not. Anyway,
you're so nice.
We'll leave on that note. No more.
Anyway,
he's bought every
appreciate
book.
it. Thank you for tuning in. As long as I know a lot of things have changed over that decade, so for people who've been around for that decade, man, really appreciate it, and thanks for supporting the show.
No, good stuff. Thanks for watching.
But that was worth stopping the music for. But
I thought so.
Appreciate the chatter. Appreciate everybody else chatting. All our super chatters. Again, thank you for making the live show a success. Appreciate you. If you're listening later on demand, thank you kindly as well for your support for the show. Thanks to the highly regarded Matt Palumbo for joining. Find his latest... There's another one.
No, that's the one we just read. We're all
I just got C. All right.
Sea Sheep's Run is the...
There we
Sea
go.
Sheep's Run is the pronunciation.
Find his latest highly regarded book and follow him on X. All linked in the description. Thanks to producer Tim for his assistance. Again, all the best to producer Tim and his father and his family, and we hope for his quick recovery. Find everything show-related at mattchristiansenmedia.com or mattis.gay if you prefer brevity. Join the MC Club if you enjoy the show. Plenty of supporter perks for you there, and you help keep the duct tape production rolling as well. I'll be back on Wednesday night. Hope to see you then. Have a great night and a great week. Until then.